This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of Blockbuster Rewind. Amazingly, we've made it to 12. I'm your host and new camp counselor, Eric Eells. And I'm joined, as always, by my fellow co-host, the wacky jokester of our group, Scott Shifflett. Scott, how are you doing?
Eric, I just hope I make it to the end. We'll see what happens. It's going to be some diminishing returns if I'm the one that survives at the end.
Well, it would be a flip of the coin. There's no guarantees in life. But, and joining us tonight, as our other co-host, Andy is not here, as discussed in the last episode. He gracefully bowed out of this episode. The specific Friday the 13th films are just not his type of films, but we need an older leader who wants to stop our shenanigans and keep us on schedule. So he tagged in Scott Criscuolo. Scott, how are you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Eells. Scotty S. How are you? Yeah, I mean, he, you know, when Andy like has a franchise in front of me he literally knows nothing about, you know, he usually tags me, and particularly involves cutlery and death. So I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but I am happy to be here. I'm happy. It is kind of telling though. This is my second appearance on this show, and both have involved franchises involving knives and killing. So I don't know if Andy feels something dark going on here, but I'm happy to be here. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time, and I'm very happy to be here. It's a good show. Always enjoy being on.
Yes, well, we're happy to have you, because we know this a topic of yours, favorite topic of yours, and you'll have a lot to say. So, Good conversation. And obviously, rounding out the group is another returning guest, our final girl of all final girls, whip smart and good with a quip. It's Jennifer Smith. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you so much. I love that intro. Thank you for that. I plan to be the only one standing at the end of this podcast. And Schiff, you're definitely going down first. Sorry, buddy.
I figured. It was worth a shot, though.
Right down the stairs.
For sure. I'm counting myself on staying up as late as possible, because I have a good feeling that this second Madura shot's not going to take me out.
All right.
Good.
Yes.
Like your confidence.
For sure. So, we are here to talk about the Friday the 13th franchise, but I have chosen to segment it to its very first four films, which is certainly the development of the story and the introduction, obviously, of its most iconic character, Jason Voorhees. One could call maybe his most human in these films, as we'll discuss going forward. Obviously, let's start around everyone. It's going to be easier just to go like Scott Shifflett. It's just Scott and Criscuolo. That's all. Just make it easier.
I wondered what the protocol was for that.
That's how I figured I was going to do it.
I was a little nervous what I was going to be called, but that's okay.
I think this would be a great value, Scott, and we'll just see.
Which one answered first?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Scott, what is your experience? Are you a fan of the Friday the 13th? Is this a new thing for you?
All right. Well, growing up, they terrified the hell out of me. On these rewatches, I was like, what the hell was I scared of? But I had seen these out of order. Like, I saw Jason X randomly, and then I saw, like, the reimagining in 2009. And, yeah, this is the first time I'd actually seen 1 through 4, and I'll get to my thoughts as we roll through. But let's just say they were interesting, to say the least.
So you grew up with these, like, seeing them in the theater, I assume?
No, I was watching them on like VHS and DVD. Like my parents would rent them, or they'd be like on HBO randomly.
Interesting. Jenny, what is your experience?
Much like Yeah, much like Scott, I grew up with it. I'm a little bit older than Scott though, so yeah, I wasn't in the theater with these movies either. They were VHSs, I feel like, but my main memories of Jason movies are being at my family's lake house, and that's when we would watch scary movies a lot of times. And I had four boy cousins, and they like to scare me a lot with Jason masks and just jump scares in general. And so this is one of those like with Freddy and others that was just in the just we just always had them on. We just kind of always watched them, and I never really I was never really involved in the story. It was just more like chasing and death and like kills. Like I didn't really give a fuck about Jason or his backstory or really anything to do with the way that we talk about movies now. So when I was a kid, it was the scariest shit ever, and I just always have like nostalgic and fond memories of these movies.
Jenny, you watched them at a lake house? That would have
Yes.
terrified me as a kid.
Yeah.
I would have been
Well-
like, no, hell no, we're not watching this.
I mean, growing up, I had to keep up with the boys, right? So if the boys were doing it, Jenny had to do it, and it just made me braver than I would be ordinarily, I think.
Yeah.
So
That toughen you up, essentially.
I'm going to tell you all a quick
That's-
story real quick. I had watched one of the Jason movies, and then my parents were like, take out the dog. Because like I lived at the end of like a cul-de-sac, so I was like, we could take the dog out. They knew I was terrified. These assholes turned the lights off as I'm walking the dog. It
That's
was
genius.
just pitch black. I'm pretty sure everyone within like a quarter-mile radius heard me scream, and it wasn't like I was screaming bloody murder, and like picked up like it was like a 30-pound dog, picked up the dog and just ran inside. And they were like, did he use the bathroom? I was like, I mean, I couldn't curse because I was a little kid, but I was like, I hate you all. I stomped off to my room, but it's just like, Jenny, you saying that like, brought that back as like a flashback. Like I hadn't thought about that in years.
I mean, it's the perfect thing to like terrorize your kids with, because as an adult, you're not scared of it, like you said. Like on the rewatch, you're like, why was I scared? But then the little kids, they just buy into it, and I could see. I mean, kudos to your parents, honestly, for that.
Yes. And they used to do the chim, chim, chim.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
Lord. That's a wavy line between being fun parents and just
Abuse.
Well, I mean, I feel like it is a fine line. So
yes, it's a fine line. Believe me, there are worse parents that I've seen in recent years on like YouTubers and such. That yeah. But Scott, Criscuolo, I assume you were right there in the theaters the first day when these first one came out. I assume like 18.
No, I'm not that. Wow. Andy should be on, and you shouldn't. And I don't think Andy even owns a robe. But no. I think the
No one's gonna get that reference on this show.
Yeah, who cares? No, I will say this though. This is like the third pod that I've done talking about Friday in any reference. Jenny and I did a deep horror pod. Was it, I think, last year? And then I did a Friday pod with Mr. Sherman. So he's one of the. It was one of the most iconic franchises when I was a kid. I was 7 or 6. When I was 6 when the first one came out, so I didn't obviously. The first one I saw in theaters was Takes Manhattan, because I snuck in at 16 to see Jake Takes Manhattan. The first one that came out after I was R-rated age was Goes to Hell, and I wish I can take that money back. But I have a similar story to Jenny's. I think I mentioned on Sherman when I was on with Sherman, but my parents used to go, like Jenny. We used to go up to similar type of setting. We used to go to Lake George when I was a kid, and there was a huge, like one of the big main houses on the property at the cabins our family stayed in with another family had a huge, like white, like the like the registration building, and it had a huge like side of the building that they used for a movie screen. So they used to play movies at night, and they used to do different ones based on age group. So one night, they did a double feature that summer, and this was the summer of '80. So I was 7, and the first one was Empire Strikes Back because that came out that previous May. So I got to watch that. Then I had to go to bed because Friday the 13th was the second one, but the original. And my brothers stayed out there, but I kind of snuck out of the cabin. My parents they were drinking with the other parents at the pool, and I kind of snuck. So I actually technically did watch the first Friday the 13th on a big screen. It wasn't a movie theater screen, but it was really cool. And it didn't scare me. I was fascinated. I'm like, wow, I'm in these woods and this is kind of fucking crazy, you know? But after that, I remember watching all of them on HBO and, you know, renting them on VHS. The first one I saw in theaters was Takes Manhattan, which was 89. I was 16. And then the first one then I saw Goes to Hell and X and the rest of them. But obviously, as everyone knows, Halloween is my favorite horror franchise, but there was a huge gap between movies in the 80s. So Friday kind of took the spot for me in terms of horror watching, you know, throughout most of that decade when I was a kid. So I rented all of them. I watched them on HBO. And I got to say, I when we talk about the movies tonight, I think I like the earlier story of Jason and the portrayal of him in the earlier films, like before the hockey mask and before like he, you know, becomes like pretty much Robo Jason in like the 6th one. So I think there was a raw grittiness to the early ones that I kind of dug as a kid, and it kind of went along with, you know, My Bloody Valentine and Fright Night and Terror Train and all those other Jamie Lee Curtis ones at Prom Night and all the ones that came out in the early 80s that were very real. So I always enjoyed like the first 2 of them, which we'll talk about obviously. But yeah, the first time I watched the first one was on a giant side of a building in Lake George in the summer of '80 when I probably shouldn't have. But it got me to love. I actually saw that before I saw the first Halloween, and that got me to love horror, and that's why I'm a big horror fan. But I mean, it's a franchise for all time. You know, still stands the test of time today. They still make box sets. They still make Blu-rays. It may actually have a bigger following than even Nightmare or Halloween in that aspect.
Oh yeah, that's a very, very debatable subject. They're very much the 3 pillars of pop culture horror of the last 40 years.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of. It's been a while since I've been to Lake George, so I'm trying to think of that building you've mentioned, but hopefully.
Yeah, it was called Bolton Pines was the name of the property, and it had and there were all cabins, and we stayed in a cabin, and the registration building, which is the one next to the pool, had the side of the building. It was a tall white building, and like there was no, you know, like siding on it, so it was a nice smooth. And they actually put a projector out, and they did all sorts of. They did stuff during, you know, other movies that came out during that time. They would do like Sci-Fi Night, you know, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, they did that, every summer.
It's very cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it was neat.
Nice. And before we get into it, I guess I'll go over my brief history. I certainly grew up in just watching a lot of movies, and as far as I can remember, certainly Friday the 13th was the first horror series I was made aware of. Presumably around when I was 11, so around 95. In a bit of an odd way. Across the street from me was my neighbor, who ran a home daycare center. Like, you know, kids just come over there. She babysat them professionally. And I remember one of the kids, like a little younger than me, told me about Friday the 13th and would sell me a tape of like the first 3 films. And I was like, that intrigued me. And so I bought the tape. I couldn't even tell you who the person was. It's just the whole situation around it. But the tape was the first 3 Friday the 13ths taped off of the USA Network. Because that was another... I didn't grow up so much with HBO in my youth, but certainly USA definitely had a lot of like horror movies, and certainly like Up All Night and such. But that's how I first saw those first few movies for years. And then obviously would be more emboldened by my folks to go to the video store by myself. And certainly we had quite a bit of video stores and a lot of different horror, the classic horror to go through. The Friday 13th, the Halloweens, the Evil Deads, etc. So it was quite the time to be a movie fan. My sister not so much. My sister always blames me for making her afraid of horror and very skeezed out because I allegedly made her watch these movies. I didn't put a gun to her head or made her watch shit. She could have just went into another room and watched something else. So, but yeah, not her forte. But I certainly would consider Friday the 13th my favorite of the horror series, just by its length alone. It's 12 movies. I think the quality holds up overall compared to other horror series. We can get into that larger debate another day. But let's get right into the first film, the classic. Good timing we did this because we are on the anniversary month of its release. May 9th, 1980, the first Friday the 13th film. Obviously came out in the wake of the big success of Halloween. Definitely influenced by that. Directed by Sean Cunningham, himself no stranger to horror, with The Last House on the Left. A very different type of horror film, for sure. But
Quite so.
quite so.
That's an understatement.
Understatement, yes. But no, it's the history is just very intriguing because it's like it shouldn't work as well as it did. It's like someone who's like, oh wow, Halloween's really popular, it's making a lot of money. Let me try to make a film something like that, with a holiday theme such. And basically, if you know the story, to break down most simple basics, had a concept idea, not much of a script, but let me put an ad in Variety and try and get investors with a poster. I already had like a poster in mind, and that worked. He raised like $500,000 in 1980 money, which is still a small budget and a decent idea for a script, and went about it. So
That's all he had was a poster and a decent idea for a script?
Yeah.
And made $500,000?
No, he got $500,000 to make the film. So
that's insane. Everybody was on coke in 1980, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could. Neither here or there, but yeah, that wouldn't surprise me in the least.
Although we don't see coke in the Friday the 13th films for about 8 years, actually.
Yeah,
that's sad. There needs to be way more drug use in these.
There
was definitely drug use, but
it's mainly beer and weed.
Yeah, a lot of weed.
A lot of weed.
So,
the coke didn't come in until the one. Is it the sixth one or I think it's the seventh one. The sixth one.
I guess because a lot of teenage counselors probably can't afford coke as their preferred drug.
Oh yeah, no, weed was the kid drug. Coke was for like the
the yuppies
and the yuppies and athletes. That was what Coke was. Coke was for yuppies
sure.
and athletes. Weed was for everyone. The more you know. One to grow on. Now, on a side note, Eric, before you continue, it's amazing how when you think about the three faces of horror, we've always said it's John Carpenter, Sean Cunningham, and Wes Craven. Who, incidentally, he and Sean Cunningham worked together on The Last House on the Left, which tells you what the fuck's going on in their heads. But he was a hustler. Sean Cunningham was a hustler. He didn't have the in like John Carpenter did. He didn't have the in like Wes Craven did. He didn't have Sean Cunningham didn't have a friend like Bob Shea at New Line, and John Carpenter didn't have friends, with Trancas and within the industry. So I just wanted to mention that to his credit, Sean Cunningham's a hustler. I mean, he hustled on his own to get $500,000 and then get Paramount behind it. Balls to him.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Which, looking at the inflation calculator, in 2021, that money would be $1.6 million. I mean, that's a decent budget. I mean, we've heard some very good horror movies that start out with that kind of budget and can make bank if it's executed correctly. Which, as we will start, this film does. So we start out on a Camp Crystal Lake in 1958 during a full moon, as we got the camp counselors hanging by a fire singing Hallelujah, a version of the song I've never heard of except for this movie.
Mm.
Yeah. As mixed in, they're singing Hallelujah, we see the POV of what will now be our killer just stalking through one of the cabins as the classic, very classic, not ch-ch-ch-ch, but k-k-k-k, ma-ma-ma theme goes from Harry Manfredini, who I believe scored pretty much all of the first 7 or 8 films.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
And it's a lot of reason why this movie is successful. He has an excellent score. Much in the same way Halloween's excellent because of John Carpenter's score. And as we go from there, we see 2 of the counselors who had to look up at the internet. Barry and Claudette go off to a storage room to grab a blanket and get it on, as you do. Because why not? Everyone's sleeping, so you got the time. And they are attacked by this POV killer. Barry is stabbed with a hunting knife. We don't see the stabbing, but we see the aftermath off screen. And then Claudette is, according to the internet, stabbed in the neck with the same hunting knife. Although we don't see it, as the camera pushes in on her face and it freeze frames before she's hit, as we cut to the opening titles. These very memorable opening titles of Friday the 13th jump on the screen. So this is a very quick, easy way to start the film.
And they all pretty much do that. I mean, in the first 4 at least.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good continuity here, these titles. And then
so long. It lasts like 8 minutes, I swear.
Yeah, they do.
And
Yeah.
that seems to be a hallmark for the whole series because, like, as you know, we'll go. It's like this. It's like previously on, Dawson's Creek, and then it like catches us up.
Oh yeah,
It's very helpful, honestly.
Yes. So I have some thoughts about these sequels, but no, this movie itself was like a lean, like 95 minutes, including credits.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then we go from there. We flash to the present day of like 1979. They establish, and the movie comes out in 80. But we meet Annie, the new kitchen cook for the newly reopened Camp Crystal Lake. They're going to reopen it after 22 years. And she is getting a ride into town. She's only getting a ride halfway. The truck driver's like, it's like 20 miles. I'm only going to take you halfway. You can figure out the rest from there.
That was kind of cold. I mean, why not just drive her the whole way?
And they were all looking weird at her.
Oh, the moment she mentions it, yeah. Everyone's...
Also, the truck driver fills her up when he's like helping her in the car. I was like, what the hell was going on in the 80s?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was free balling. Everybody did
pretty much, yeah.
wanted.
Oh, there was no doubt. No doubt. What was going on in the 80s? A lot.
Everything.
No rules.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she's Amelie's she's before she gets loaded into the truck, she's skeeved out by quite the character of Crazy Ralph, who can't just explain things in a nice simple term of like, people have died here previously. Maybe it's a good idea to go up there, but he's a little off his rocker when he gets sauced up, as we are warned, led to believe. So he prophesizes doom, her doom, everyone's doom. He immediately stands out. He is quite the character. He makes the most of his screen time, few minutes they are, as Annie is told to presumably quit. That Camp Crystal Lake is jinxed because of the murders, because of a previous drowning the year before, and a bunch of fires, and even a poisoning of the water in 1962, which I can't begin to figure how you do that. How you poison lake water. But
you put a bunch of dead bodies in it, probably.
Yep. And animals.
I guess so. But she is deterred nonetheless, because she is a dumb youth, at least according to the truck driver. That's her reason.
Dumb youth.
Dumb youth.
No, dumb youth. Stupid kids. kids these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as she's on her way, slowly, we get to meet some of our other characters, including Jack, his girlfriend Marcy, and prankster Ned. But obviously, Jack, we all know, is a fucking king shit himself, Kevin Bacon.
Is that king shit, Kevin Bacon?
I think he's king shit.
Yeah.
I think he's always been consistently good in everything. He has no issues, no controversies about him. He just seems like all around cool guy.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. His like second big movie after being in Animal House. So I thought you had something to say about that, Criscuolo. I would figure he's the Animal House guy.
Oh, yeah. No, I was letting you roll. You're on a roll. I was going to get there.
All right.
You're on a roll.
But, yeah, all right. They get to the camp and we meet Steve Christie, the new owner, who's apparently invested a lot of cash, like over $20,000 in refurbishing this old campsite to get ready to bring some kids in a couple weeks. So, but he's not quite done yet. So he's got his counselors up there early and ready to go, including his second, Alice. So we're getting right into it. Establishing all these characters, including Bill.
And as I learned very quickly with these movies, the characters don't mean shit. Like literally my notes, I have like hot chick 1 showed up with hot chick 2, and then it's like rando hippie girl gets killed. Mm-hmm. Never learned her name, and like getting ahead like the mom in the 4th movie. I was like, Tommy's mom shows up, don't know her name. It's like, come on, I just care that these people are going to get murdered, and I want to see how they get murdered. Like, that's all I care about. We all know they're going to have sex, do drugs. I just want to see Jason then say, this is what happens when you do sex and have drugs, pretty much.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Agree with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yes. So you're not into proper character development compared to most films. you know what you're here for. So I would be interested like how quite the change it would be, like how we understand what these type of movies are, these traditional slashers compared to people who saw them at the time, because it must have been fairly new and different. But as we go on, they are just taking around, just doing work as our unseen stalker. It moves around a lot. Like the killer is stalking them, and then the killer acquires a jeep and finds Annie before she gets to the camp, and then leads her on a chase into the woods when she realizes shit's wrong, because we're not hearing from this killer at all, not at all. So. But we do lead to, I think, a fairly good kill. If Annie gets chased in the woods, she hurts herself doing a whole real flip out of the car while it's moving. Lucky it didn't hit like a big rock or anything on her head. But then she's hobbled too much, and the killer catches up, and she's throat slashed.
Also, yeah. I'm gonna say this. It's like seeing all these kills from a person's point of view is pretty cool. But then at the end of the movie, when we find out who the killer is, I was like, really? The 6-year-old lady got the drop on all these teenagers and like 20-some-year-old kids.
That's a fair point.
I know, right?
She knows the terrain better than anyone.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's not really like a physical like mangling of the people. She knows. I mean, you figure she's been stalking these woods for 21 years, so it's more like the element of surprise. She knows where to chase them and that kind of thing. So the fact that you're saying that, Scotty, actually makes the narrative even more compelling, that this old lady is getting the drop on these 20-year-olds because they don't know where the fuck they are, and this is pretty much like her backyard. So your credit, Scott, that's a great point, and it proves that Sean Cunningham knew what he was doing when we find out at the end who it is, and you're like, Jesus, these kids are that dumb? Not really. They just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They were in the middle of nowhere. Really.
Plus, they're all drunk and high.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I will say,
when we get to a kill in particular, that point is very prevalent. So, one particular kill, but anyway.
Go ahead, Scott.
I was just gonna say for the girl Annie that we spoke about getting killed, like with her like supposedly not knowing where to go, then it's like, oh, the turn was supposed to be that way. Like she had Google Maps. It's like, come on, Annie, like you could have walked.
Yeah.
You died for nothing.
This is why you don't hitchhike.
Exactly.
Yes. So you'll never get to feed those children or those. She calls them compares them like little birds and such at one point. It's a real. Yeah, there's a bit of
I wanted to murder her when she said that. So.
Yeah, I was happy because I thought she was going to be the final girl, and then she got murdered, and I was like, oh, thank goodness, I won't see this chick ever again. And
Yes.
I don't know if you guys looked up these IMDb's. Like, they barely acted at all after this. Like, we see, like, Kevin Bacon here, and then we see, like, Crispin Glover in the fourth movie, and obviously Corey Feldman. But also it's like, you know, their IMDb picture is them from when they were in the Jason movie, and you click on it, and it's like, oh, they didn't really do shit after this.
Nope. Not really.
It's like porn, you know? Just like...
It absolutely is.
Don't put it on your resume.
Yeah, they're pretty much making, like, you know, $2,000, and that's pretty much it. You know, Betsy Palmer was probably making the most, and everyone else, even Kevin Bacon was a fucking scrub. I mean, he did Animal House, and that was pretty much the extent of it. You know, and so he was probably making a little bit more, but the rest of them, I mean, even though she was the heroine, Adrienne King probably was making a ton. They paid Betsy Palmer, and that was pretty much that. The rest of them were probably making, you know, maybe a couple grand here, a couple grand there, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're making as much as you can.
Who got rich off of this? The
Sean Cunningham.
Or
Sean
the
Cunningham.
director?
Paramount.
Yeah.
Paramount.
Yeah.
The investors.
Oh, I'm sure Bacon down the line probably wormed his way into some royalties. I'm sure.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I certainly from my research, obviously the jump ahead, but the big reason Betsy Palmer did this movie, despite not wanting to do horror, is that she needed a new car, and I guess she was paid like $1,000 a day for her work.
Right.
That's time to be
bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
No, not bad at all.
Like 10 days, you're making like half of what Pleasance made for the original Halloween. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and John Carpenter's budget was $325,000.
For sure.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about what Donald Pleasance got paid and how much John Carpenter had. He had like a fucking third of what Sean Cunningham had.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about, you know.
And Carpenter's filming in California while Cunningham's slumming it in the best parts of Jersey.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Best parts of Jersey?
Well, you see in the film, like all this nice camp, this nice wooded area, the lake.
Connecticut eventually.
Oh yeah, we'll get
that's
to
where they
that.
shoot Connecticut eventually.
It's the state line when you leave.
Yeah.
For sure. In Jersey, you find weirdos like Officer Dorf, who shows up to harass the kids, like he's smoking weed and such. As Ned is being offensive at just the right time with his Tonto act, because Officer Dorf's looking for Ralph, because we gotta set up some red herrings. So. I like it. The scene comes, he establishes who Ralph is to them, and immediately Ralph shows up in the very next scene, hiding in that pantry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. He scares me more. Creepy old man. How do you get in? I thought maybe he thought they were stealing like the can of beans or something. That's what they're more worried about. They don't care about your talking doom. Stop stealing the can of beans.
For sure.
You gotta feed these kids.
Yeah, feed them fucking kids.
Yep. And Ralph must be in some decent shape because he biked all the way there. Like, he leaves that cabin, he gets on his bicycle to bike back to town. For being such a drunk. So, it's some decent cardio. And while we're doing with that, the kids we're having various fuck arounds. Ned acts like a fucking jerk, pretends to drown, just so he can get a smooch from Marcy. Yeah, Marcy tries to give him CPR. It's dumb.
Yeah, the dudes are the lamest in these movies. Like,
oh, they're the worst. Like,
they're the worst.
Like, we have the guy in the second or third one who's like, I can't go skinny dipping because I'm chubby. It's like, fat boy, take your clothes off and get in the water.
Yeah, take your shoes off, Sean, kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love you for
Well,
that, Jenny.
people love to get naked, though. He is the only one who doesn't take his clothes off, pretty much, in these movies. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Get to him soon enough. But as we go along, Steve leaves to get supplies because there's gonna be a big rainstorm, and here's where things really pick up. Where Ned sees someone entering an old cabin. Hey, can I help you? And we never see him again, alive at least.
mm-hmm.
While Jack and Marcy are having a little conversation. Marcy talks about her shower dream, where she almost prophesizes her own death, which is a very weird thing to rewatch.
Mm-hmm. Foreshadowing.
Yeah. So, and then oh, go ahead, Scott.
I just said, like, I have my note, Kevin Bacon, more like Kevin Banging, because, like, I'm not going to lie, like, when Jason or Pamela Voorhees isn't killing people on the screen, it's like, how did Kevin Bacon have a career after this? Because, like, everything is just, like, I know it's, like, trying to set the stage, but I'm, like, trying to get some kills, like, every 5 minutes. And these first, like, 45 minutes, man, and it's, like, it's a little rough. Because, like we were talking about, it's like, we're not here for the story. Like, I'm here, you know, and, like, that's what crazy about the first movie is, like, you don't really see much of the kills. Like, you mentioned that one guy who went away. I'm pretty sure he was wearing a Dan Marino jersey, and he got killed right there off screen. And, like, we see that with a couple other ones, and, you know, it's just, like, they're trying to make it look like they're kids, because, like, then they're playing, like, strip Monopoly, which is, like, okay, that usually Monopoly ends with fighting. I guess we'll be fighting nude, so we'll see what happens with that.
Okay. Yes.
A lot of nude fighting. Yes.
Yes. Well, we do certainly get nudity soon enough, as Marcy is describing her prophetic dream, and somehow it gets her and Jack all horned up to have sex during this rainstorm. Unbeknownst to them, that there's a dead body above them in the top bunk, and a killer below them underneath, waiting for in the climax. It's very nice of the killer.
Mm-hmm. Quite.
So, yeah. And during this time, yes, we do get the strip Monopoly sequence, where the other characters smoke some grass and play strip Monopoly. And I
would argue that the sex scenes are some of the best acting in these 4 movies.
That's where Sean Cunningham or Sam Cunningham found the actors. He was watching Debbie Does Dallas and was like,
at least
I need this chick.
Because they're very well done, I will say. And they're pretty hot. Not, you know, they don't show much other than boobs, but, like, they're pretty hot.
Yeah.
I concur.
For sure. And and then after the sex, Marcy leaves, obviously, to go pee, but she has to go all the way to the outhouse because of cabins. And then Kevin Bacon goes for smoke a cigarette, post-sex cigarette, and he gets arrow through his throat. He's impaled with an arrow, and that's a pretty famous sequence. I don't think they ever really showed it on TV. I think they start to show a little bit of it, and then they cut away. Obviously, watching this uncut, you see the full camera below, shooting from below his neck, the blood spurting out, and it's pretty good. And then we from there to Marcy getting her own kill in the bathroom. The killer makes his way to the restroom, and she gets axe right to the fucking face.
Yes, she does.
That's your money shot right there. That's what you're paying Tom Savini for.
Well, at least she got laid before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was post-coital, so, you know.
A common theme.
Yes.
Post-coital murder.
Oh, for sure.
There's the climax, and then there's the climax.
Some people see it as, you know, like a moral stance, you know, if you have sex, then you're probably going to die in the movie. But my take on that is like, hey, at least she got laid first.
Yeah. And that's kind of a cliche, but it's also not really true at times.
Well, Carpenter started that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Carpenter started that in Halloween with Annie and her you know, and her walking around with the shirt and no pants, and then, you know, PJ Souls with See Anything You Like, you know, and then they're dead. And the hottest one, Jamie Lee Curtis, doesn't die. You know,
Nope.
and so you can blame John Carpenter for that cliche, for that trope over the next 50 years or 45 years of horror, but yeah, it's
sex shaming women is not new in pop culture, literature,
No.
movies, songs, or TV shows, or
Right.
any
Of course
other
not.
form of art.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
there was definitely some slut shaming going on in the fourth movie. Like the girl's
Yeah.
like, "You have sex with everyone." I was like, "Damn, sis,
Yeah.
coming in hot."
And I want to circle back there. We can presumably assume that our final girl Alice is also not a virgin, as there's that weird scene where Steve's talking to her and she's thinking about she may wants to leave because she's got to go back to California and deal with something, and he's asking her to stay for a bit, and he's just very quietly like caressing her face, and
yeah,
I don't know how to read that at all.
Yeah, it's weird. So yeah, no,
It is
I agree with you. It's definitely not. Yeah, she's definitely not a virgin. There's no doubt about that. Steve definitely deflowered that. Steve with his fucking nut huggers.
Mustache.
Within his fucking nut huggers he's wearing over Daisy Dukes. But yeah. No, there's definitely, that was definitely a John Carpenter trope. But I mean, in the essence of it is, at least with this movie, like in Halloween, yeah, Bob dies. But for the most part, none of the guys get any. It's all women that get killed except Bob.
Mhm.
And at least with Friday, everybody's getting laid and everybody gets killed. So
That's true.
every
Sure.
gender gets fucking shamed and murdered here. Getting back to what's her name getting the fucking
Marcy?
axe to the face. Marcy getting the axe to the face. I will always mark out for that, because that's like a legit, like that you're probably thinking to yourself, she'll get stabbed and it'll be off screen or whatever. And you're like, oh fuck. It's like, Jesus, that's like you think that's like a guy kill, a fucking axe to the face, and somebody later on in a future movie will get a knife to the face, but not one of the ladies. You're like, holy shit, that came out of nowhere. So good call by Sean Cunningham here to kind of throw us off the. And I feel like he did that the whole movie, which is why it makes it so great. I think he kind of kind of takes us off our sense of safety by the woman's quietly going to get killed off screen, and axe to the head. It's like, it's crazy.
It's quite the comparison to our next kill as Brenda, who on proper rewatch, like I initially thought like she respected the rules of Stripanopoly and didn't take her clothes back, but upon seeing it, I see that she did. She just didn't put them back on when she put on her rain slicker to go back to her cabin.
Mm-hmm.
So as we see her in her long what would you call the very long white sleepwear nightie. I was gonna call it night. Yeah, nightgown. So it reminiscent of like something Carrie had. As she leaves her cabin in the rain because she hears a small child crying for help, which leads her out to the archery range where there was a previous so much of a jump scare when Ned shoots an arrow right at her as she's putting up the archery range, and then she's led back, and we don't know what happens to her. She's not shot by an arrow, presumably, but she's pretty much bludgeoned.
Mm-hmm.
As we'll later see when we do see her body. And from there, then the killer just really starts, taking out quite a few people in a few minutes, because Steve makes his way back after his Jeep gets caught up in the mud, and a nice friendly police officer gives him a ride and talks about weird fucking shit happens on Friday 13th and full moon, and has to drop him off at the camp just before because he gets called away to an emergency. And Steve then, I don't know how to describe what happens to Steve just by the way the shot is, because he doesn't walk. He sees someone he subsequently recognizes in the POV. He walks towards them, but not close enough that I would just assume he's stabbed in the stomach. It could also be he was stabbed in the dick. Like, that's just the way the shot looks to me.
I mean, both? Like in the dick and then up into the stomach?
I mean, maybe.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Proper disemboweling.
I would guess so. So perhaps we can't really tell too much by the way we find his body later on when it just magically falls out of a tree branch. That's a cliche that starts in this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Falls in the
And you know what?
series.
You could argue that at the moment, Alice could be the killer. Maybe she does stab him in the dick. That'll teach you for caressing my face, you fucking perv, with your fucking perv mustache. Because because it's obvious that she's in her late teens, early 20s, and he's obviously in his,
A creeper.
mid 30s, mid to late 30s. So maybe she was trying to don't ever caress my fucking face again.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's funny, and I'm being half serious here. I mean, you're not quite sure where this is going now. Now, with him dying on camera, and you're not sure where the stabbing's going. I mean, we're being funny with the dick stab, but you never know. You don't know who it is. It could be Alice, because maybe she is pissed off that he's making the moves or whatever. So it's but because it's evident, because this is also the first time that we see a victim know the person, and that's huge.
Yeah.
Everyone else just gets randomly killed. The only other time we saw somebody get killed face to face is the annoying hitchhiker in the beginning. Other than that, they've all been killed in from behind or secretly or whatever. But this is the first time that we've seen somebody killed while looking at them and knowing them. And now now the training wheels are off. Now we don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yes.
So it's huge. That's a huge hook there,
And we're left with Alice and Bill, who's just been kind of quietly there. I mean, he's been around. And we certainly know that he's good with a machete, as we saw him kill an actual snake on screen. The only actual murder in the movie earlier. So as he gets that snake out of Alice's cabin, during that, what starts out as a weird sitcom thing, where everybody runs in at once. And then it leads to Kevin Bacon jumping off the bed and knocking out the mattress, and then Bill just very coldly cuts it with a machete in half. So
if I saw a snake in my cabin, I would be leaving immediately.
I'd be going back to California.
Yeah, there's no fucking way I'm staying there.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, this movie takes forever, and it was only 86 minutes long. It takes forever to get places. I'm really, your spacing with this is just ridiculous. From what we just spoke about, it was 15 minutes of film time. I was oh my god, I could have done this in half the time.
Right. Well, I guess you say they're building tension in a way, especially when stuff like finding the axe in the bed. So, but it pretty much ends with Bill leaving Alice to go look at the generator because the killer has turned out the generator, along with the pour something on Bill's truck so his engine's wet and cut out the phone line. So it's very isolating them. And
his
then
engine is wet.
Yes, that's what he says. If they're looking at the engine, it says it's wet. I'm oh, I guess it don't work.
Does that make an engine not work?
Yeah, I didn't.
I don't know. I don't know shit about cars. So.
Yeah, that sounds like a terrible screenwriting gaffe there. Terrible.
We're not going anywhere until this engine dries out, Phyllis.
No, put it on the lawn. Put it on the clothesline. Hang it on the clothesline.
Well, time for a new car. The engine got wet.
Yeah. And Alice is at that point, it's let's just fucking hike out here. And he's
exactly,
no, it's raining. Let's just wait for Steve. We'll be fine. We'll be laughing about this tomorrow. That's what he says.
We get murdered.
Yeah. No. And unfortunately, he does very much an overkill in a weird way. As not only his throat slashed, he is shot with arrows, and he is, much like Bob from Halloween, he is picked up and stacked behind that door. I have no idea how our killer would do that. But it's great. It's a great reveal nonetheless for Alice to find her, and then we just sequence into her being scared shitless for a few minutes, understandably, as the killer throws Brenda's body wrapped in rope through a window. And then the final reveal comes as a jeep comes, and you think it's Steve coming to help. He'll save the day, and no, we just meet this kindly, more than middle-aged woman, Mrs. Pamela Voorhees. And Jenny, what's your initial thoughts with Pamela Voorhees?
I was like, well, this lady is absolutely suspect. She looks creepy as hell. She's just talking about, like, I used to work for the Christie, and she just starts spilling her guts. And I'm like, oh, this is just way too much information. Like, she's obviously in on this.
Mm-hmm. Now, I guess this would be a kind of a hard question to ask because we have 41 years of history, but I guess I'll ask Scott, were you surprised by the reveal, or did you already know about the reveal? Obviously, did you see Scream first? Obviously, going back to our previous episode.
Yeah, that's how I knew the reveal. It was her. But after rewatching this movie, I kind of think that her and her son Jason were working together for this because she doesn't have the upper body strength to lift all these bodies and throw them through like windows and stuff. It was two people.
Definitely.
Yes. Criscuolo, what do you think of Pamela Voorhees as she monologues about her history and the death of her only son Jason and herself might freak out?
Yeah, it definitely. I agree with Jenny. I think at first glance you're like, all right, can't you just say, hey, you okay? Let's call the police. Let's call for help. We don't need. Hi, how are you? I grew up here. My kid drowned. Fuck this place. You're dead. Like it's like, wow, way too much information. But I actually, Scotty makes a good point because we keep going back to, this 60-year-old woman or whatever she is, can't possibly be able to like throw guys through windows and hang them over tree branches. So maybe some of the kills were her and some of the kills were not, I mean, it's unless we're thinking too much into the whole physical aspect of it, but she definitely brings that sense of, doubt in your mind as, who she really is and what she's doing here and how she just mysteriously shows up now instead of any other time during the day when they're swimming nude or whatever. And, like all the fucking going on and everything. And it's all of a sudden she just shows up now in the dark while it's raining instead of,
a lot of crazy people have freakish body strength. So
that is true. Sure.
We'll just go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
And she is tough nonetheless because she starts out getting hit by a fire poker as Alice escapes. And
that's one thing that gets me with this. It's like they hit him once and then they run. It's like, no, we need to whoop some ass and make sure they don't move and then come back and kill me when I'm least suspecting it.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Well, she's like, she hits her in the arm with a fire poker. It's like, no, you try to chop that head off. I mean, I'm not a lunatic. I know that sounds like I'm a fucking crazy person, but I've seen enough scary movies that like, no, you gotta like make sure they're disemboweled so then you'll know you're alive.
Yeah. Yes, that is the end of quite the almost like 15-minute cat and mouse chase sequence where it goes from the cabin to a storage area where a gun that is not properly loaded, I assume, or not working. Obviously, it probably hasn't been used in quite a few years. Probably hasn't been cleaned. So it's just used as a blunt instrument, as well as Mrs. Voorhees' hands as she just slaps the shit out of Alice.
I started laughing when she was bitch slapping her. It was like,
me too. That was pretty good. It was like, what?
Yeah.
If we're led to believe those are actual slaps, or at the very least, they had actual slaps in rehearsal until they're pointed out. It's like, this is in theater. You can just fake the shit. So, yes. And then, obviously, Miss Voorhees takes a real hit to the head with a frying pan, which probably would put most people down. And certainly get some blood from it, but it's not enough as it leads to the end, to the beach where they have it out finally. And Alice almost impaled with a cut off a paddle, like a paddle is like torn in half like a steak. She was almost staked at one point before she gets a machete and a very slow-mo sequence where we get our big money shot. She just cuts that head off. As Mrs. Voorhees' hands, her head goes off and her hands, her hairy hands, just sort of go up in the air and just like, it's almost like, I would imagine like the Wicked Witch would do, like, I'm melting, like those kind of hand movements as she just
Those are Tom
dies.
Savini's hands, actually.
That's why I mentioned hairy hands,
Yeah.
because they are not a woman's hands.
No, they're not. No, they're actually Tom Savini's hands.
Yes. The great Tom Savini, makeup effects legend. Yeah, and we think it's over. I mean, you would think it's over, like the killer's dead, and Alice takes a canoe out into the lake just to get some rest from everything, and then she's woken up by the sounds of the police showing up before being dragged into the water by this weird, misshapen boy creature who was like just dirtiest, barely any what if describe his skin is just a kind of a mutant. It is New Jersey. It could be like, the Top Avenger.
True.
And then she wakes up because it was a dream, or was it?
Was it?
Or was it? They didn't find any boy. They found her in the water. They didn't find any boy. And she proclaims that he probably is still down there. The ghost, or what of Jason Voorhees is there? As we end the movie, we end with this nice uplifting music to end our horror film. And Criscuolo, what was your final thoughts on the whole thing as a whole?
Oh, I mean, it's clearly one of the greatest horror movies of all time. It's crazy because, as we mentioned, Halloween, in my opinion, is the greatest horror movie of all time, and that was in essence an indie film. As I mentioned before, Carpenter got like $325,000 to shoot that. And the best part about Friday the 13th is, and I respect Sean Cunningham for this, he got obviously more money. He had Paramount behind him, but he didn't like glam up the movie and make it too what's the word I'm thinking of? Too big movie looking. Like it kept that grainy, like even Phantasm, which I think was made with less money, looked slicker a year earlier than Friday the 13th did.
Yes. But so it should be noted that Paramount didn't put money into this. They just picked it up.
Right.
To distribute it after the fact. Right,
exactly. So the fact that he got the money and had more money but decided not to make it too pretty, I think speaks to the fact that he wanted a movie, he wanted his Halloween. So he tried to shoot it similar to the way Carpenter shot his movie. And I applaud that. Again, Tom Savini, one of the greatest. He'll be one of many great effects guys we'll have throughout the whole franchise. Him, John Carl Buechler, and Greg Nicotero. But the acting is what it is. It is pretty much porn, except the kills replace extended sex, pretty much, in terms of bad acting and faceless people and that kind of thing. But I love Kevin Bacon's death. It's like one of my favorites ever. He's just sitting there lighting up. I thought it was a joint, but maybe it was a cigarette. And then just sitting there, and then the blood drips from and you don't really see it because it's a wider shot. You don't really see him. And then you mentioned the body's above him, and he sees and then the arrow goes through the throat, which is a great effect. I thought it was a great movie, and it's one of the things I love about a good horror movie franchises, in that they kept it very tight. Like, you don't see 2.5 hour horror movie. Well, you do now, but 87, 88 minutes, and you could get your story down and tell it. And I think Cunningham did a fantastic job of having that grainy, dirty look, to get the point across. And even though it may have seemed predictable, the mom being the killer is a bit of a swerve because it's not something you normally see, even in 70s horror. So unless it's a vampire, the women usually aren't the baddies. So I thought it was a great. Move, risk, I would say, by Sean to do that. So definitely one of my favorites. Definitely.
Cool. And answer my next question about the favorite kill. So we got that taken care of. Scott, what your overall thoughts and favorite kill of the movie?
I'm kind of shocked, like, this got a sequel. I mean, I'm looking through it with 2021 eyes. So, like, like, there's, like, I'm looking at my notes. There's a bunch of time I was like, this shit needs to speed up. But I'm also, like, trained with horror movies that have come out in the past 20 years. Well, 25, 30 years now. Best kill for me is the Kevin Bacon one. I don't know if that's just because, like, hey, we get to see Kevin Bacon die or just the way it happens, but his is the most memorable death to me.
Okay. And Jenny?
So, I mean, I will always have nostalgic love for this movie. And I can admit that the swerve at the end with the mom being the killer is good. For the acting talent that you have at this point, like, these are a bunch of nobodies, like we talked about, and it's like it doesn't really matter who's in the film. It's just like we're just trying to tell a story, right? And he's just trying to drag it out for as long as he can. Like, the people are disposable. The morality is, implied with the sexual activities, but the sex is, pretty good. Like, it's fun to watch, and the kills are too. Kevin Bacon's kill is awesome. I'm gonna do honorable mention to Axe in the Face girl. I liked that kill as well.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay, I guess we're going 4 for 4 because I'm always partial to Kevin Bacon's kill, not just because he's Kevin Bacon, this famous person getting killed on screen. No, I think it's a really good effect, and it's a highly memorable. Just a little bit of blood that spurts out as he's getting impaled. It's great, and Scott, it would be kind of surprising that, like, this hit so well, was so popular. I mean, it made in 1980, it made around $59 million, so, like, not huge, not as big as, like, Halloween a couple years earlier, but certainly big enough. And big enough to finally topple the box office giant that was Kramer versus Kramer, which kept coming back. It was number one. It kept dropped down. It kept fighting its way back to number one for several weeks of this first 4 months of the year, 1980, and they finally dethroned it for good, based on my research. And then obviously Friday the 13th is number one for maybe 1 or 2 weekends, and then The Empire Strikes Back, like, just takes everything down.
Yep.
Yes. But we got the Friday the 13th, and then a mere year later, like less than a year, because this movie comes out, I think, on May 1st, just a few days under a year, we got Friday the 13th Part 2 comes out. So that's quite the turnaround. I don't know if you could tell as you're watching initially, Jenny. So we start with a very long recap of the first movie. A very long recap of Alice dreaming about her time. It's supposed to be 2 months after the murders, which is quite weird.
It is quite weird. I thought that was odd also.
Yes. 2 months after the murders.
Because she's on the phone later with her mom. She's like, I told you, Mom, I just need to move out and, like, start over. And I guess I didn't realize the time. And I was like, wait a minute. 2 months later, you're trying to get over beheading somebody? Like, you probably need a little bit more time than that.
For sure. And I'll say, like, it's not enough of her art therapy, isn't enough doing it. As we established, she is an artist. But she is stopped by somebody. Somebody comes to her home while she's in the shower, and then scares her cat. And then after this long sequence, it includes, like, a lot of flashbacks. 11 minutes in, because I saw in my research, 11 minutes, she is killed when she finds Mrs. Voorhees' decapitated head in her fridge, and then stabbed with an ice pick. Criscuolo, what do you think of this? And was Jason nice enough to take the tea off the hot stove?
I know, isn't that nice? We don't want to set the place on fire. We just want to kill who lives there. Yeah, that's a legit moment in horror, because later that year in 1981, Halloween 2 comes out, and which is 3 years, which obviously that's a bigger gap. That's 3 years later. But it's interesting because Alice dies in the first, whatever it is,
11 minutes.
11 minutes, and you're thinking to yourself when Halloween comes out, shit, are they going to bump off Jamie Lee Curtis in the first few minutes of Halloween 2? Which is crazy to think about. You think about that. Wow, if they killed off Alice, they're going to definitely kill Laurie Strode off. So huge moment there. Because she, you're not sure. You don't have that regular thinking of, oh, it's the same person again, or is it new people for this movie? So you're not quite sure at that time in 1981 where you're coming from. I like the death. The ice pick is pretty awesome. I think that's a great kill. The painful, suffering kill for, that wasn't just killing for the sake of killing. He wanted her to suffer for killing his mother. So we're going to talk about the kills as we move along for this movie. But right now I still like that one. I love that ice pick to the head. It's pretty awesome.
And from there, we jump into our title sequence, where this time they literally blow up the Friday the 13th titles for the part 2. So we're telling us that shit's going to get raised up a bit as we go through the titles. And then we jump forward, and we're told 5 years later, 5 years after the fact. And we are going to join a new group of people, a summer training camp for counselors that is down the road in the same general area as Crystal Lake, but not at Crystal Lake, because this is a new location. They're shooting in Connecticut, in Scott's beloved Connecticut now. So as we meet our new characters like Sandra and Jeff, who get pranked by Ted, the jokester of this film, by having their truck towed, which I whiffle between being very funny and very mean. But
I thought it was okay. It was the nicest thing that's going to happen to him this movie. So
yeah, for real, that's the least of their fucking problems.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And during that, they also meet Ralph, who's again prophesizing doom. Like he just can't stop, won't stop. As they make their way to this new counselor training center, and we meet all of our characters. They come around one by one. We meet Paul, who's a very serious man in charge. And then we'll meet people like Scott, who's crushing on this girl, Terry, and who's way too good looking to be using a slingshot to shoot a rock at her ass.
Right? That guy.
Well, she's way too good looking to be in this movie. That girl's
also
fucking
that.
dime.
Yes.
That too. Yes.
It's like she get lost or something. Was she supposed to go to the porno shoot and they just brought her in?
No, not quite. No, then we start to meet like Jenny, Paul's girlfriend, and his second in command, as she comes in with her shit ass car, running late, interrupting his meeting. So she'll be our new heroine for the film.
And something very important is dropped when we first meet her. We find out that she's a child psychology major.
Yes.
And that comes important for the very end, which is like the only time they use long-term booking here, to steal a wrestling term.
For sure.
Good way to put it.
Yeah, for sure. As we get to see him training. This movie actually takes place longer in one day compared to the first film, but it's certainly a very long week. We're going to endure a very long week in the life of this small community, this small town community, because there's going to be a lot of tragedy coming. So we get to that. Paul relates us a story about Jason. He recaps the movie that we are watching the sequel of. For anyone new coming in, it's obviously he's telling us a ghost story, but they try to say that Jason presumably survived the drowning and has been living in the woods ever since, which leads to Criscuolo's theory of him helping his mom work together. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's what we're going with, because that's the idea they decided on. Is Jason going to be the killer this time around? But it's actually a very good speech because it has been repeated in recaps in the later films. I think it actually works. Criscuolo, do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree.
Yeah,
I think it's the way they got to go with it.
definitely. And as we're doing it, Scott doesn't like we're doing some character development, getting our characters. Ends with Jenny beating Paul at chess, and then them going to her cabin to get on as Ralph is a peeper. So, not surprising. But he's denied seeing climax as he's choked out with a barbed wire.
That's a nice way to say he was brutally murdered. But,
yeah. I know. Our other surviving character from the first film is gone. There's nobody left.
All right.
So was that a
whole new ball game now?
See
did that surprise you, Jenny?
No, definitely not.
No. It's only a matter of time, you thought?
Yes, for sure.
Yes. And so we go into the next day as Jenny is repeatedly reminded of bears. As Paul literally writes, "Beware the bears" on her mirror. He's very serious and self-conscious about bears. That's why he also, very shocking line earlier, tells women to stay very clean during their menstrual cycles to not attract bears.
Jesus Christ.
And Paul's worry about this will inadvertently lead to one of his counselors getting killed later on. So we go along. Everyone's just training and fucking around. The Muffin, the dog, Terry's dog, Muffin, this rat with eyes, is left by her lonesome and comes across Jason and presumably is killed. We would just assume as they do a quick shot to a hot dogs being on the grill.
Well, then it's real 50-50 with that because of what happens at the end.
For sure, which we'll discuss as Sandra and Jeff. Sandra really wants to see the Camp Crystal Lake site, even though they know they're not supposed to go there. They've been repeatedly warned, but they decided to say, fuck it, we want to see it.
I was really hoping they would die right here. Weren't you guys? I was like, yeah, you deserve to die because you're stupid. But that sadly wasn't the case. They got to live a little bit longer. Dumb.
Yep. So they're stopped by a local deputy who finds them and obviously sends them back to Paul. And just as also a more straight-laced foreword of like, Paul, why are you gonna do this? Like, move your shit away from this site. Like, it's been 5 years. It's not long enough. So get away from this area. But Paul doesn't relent. I want to mention a very odd thing where Terry's looking for her dog, and very obviously looks at Jason. There's a shot where she looks directly into the camera before she's called away for lunch. I just thought that was really funny.
I noticed that too. That is pretty funny.
Yeah. But then this Deputy Winslow. No, yes, that's Winslow. Not like Carl Winslow, but.
I was just thinking the same thing. It's
yes.
funny you said that.
He's driving back into town and he sees Jason. He sees someone running in the woods and decides to chase him for no reason. I guess maybe he's also close to the Crystal Lake area and he's gonna stop another trespasser. But
just would have kept driving.
Yeah. Instead he's chased this shanty, this shack in the woods. Scott, and from here, like, that's our first scene of the shack. What do you think of it?
Yeah, if I saw that shack in the woods, I would just turn around immediately and be like, I didn't see that. Time to go home. Like, and then, like, he sees something in there and, like, is mortified by what he sees and then is killed and is like, the hell was that? And of course, we'll see that at the end of the movie.
He is killed with a hammer to the head, and I'm not talking about the ball-peen part. It's like a carpenter's hammer, so it's got like the pointy parts, so you pick off a nail and right into his head.
Nice.
And it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
As we cut to night and after dinner shenanigans, Paul's saying everyone's gonna get one night on the town before we get into serious training, except for certain characters who've already been established who are gonna stay behind for various reasons. like Sandra and Jeff because they're being punished, and Scott wants to stay so he can get a chance to bang Terry. And we haven't really talked too much about Jeff, the wheelchair-bound guy, and his Vicky, who is very much crushing on him, very openly thirsting for him, to the point that I was just surprised to like they haven't already fucked. But it's quite the dance they go through as they stay behind.
Doesn't she start like asking him like, so what
does it work?
Like, does what work and what doesn't work? Like, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a secret at all. I mean, the dialogue is very, very, cut and dry.
For sure.
No flirt there. It's pretty straight.
They want to play some of Ted's handheld 1981 video games. I don't know, these ancient Game Boys before Game Boys. And they're like, we want to play for it. And she goes, position. I'm like, Jesus, why are you dragging this out? Just fucking go for it, dude. Like, she's throwing herself at him. Like, it's obviously it's his problem. So, but yeah, that's what we're doing with all these little storylines. As Terry decides, I'm just gonna go for a swim, a nightly swim, nude swim. And of course,
one does, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, did you see that body, Eric? She deserves to do whatever the hell she wants in the movie.
I would guess so. I guess I'd be in a different position with my current body, not to go for just a night swim in general. Like, it's gotta be cold. It's cold. I don't care what time of year it is.
It's full frontal on her coming out of the water too.
Yeah, we're really going for it.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Miner, the director who is also the associate producer of the first film, so there's a lot of the same people behind the scenes continuing from the first to the second.
They were like, you know what the second one needs? Fucking
Titties.
Full frontal bush and everything.
Yeah.
I was here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Were you here for Scott's little prank where he steals her clothes and makes her chase him?
Mm-hmm.
He eventually gets caught in a fucking bear trap where he is thrown into the air upside down.
You do the crime, you got to do the time.
Yep, sorry about it.
Yep. And
Karma, bitch.
Yeah, and she's going to take some sympathy on him. She is going to come down, but obviously she's not going to rush too much.
She also literally throws the towel right on him.
Right
on Jason. I was like, really? First off, why are you throwing a towel randomly? You shouldn't be littering.
Yeah,
that's why you
weird.
deserve to die.
Yeah.
Like,
As
these
we
are
see
basically, they should be showing these movies in school. It's like, if you fuck up this man with a hockey mask, well, he has a knapsack now, we'll kill you. Like, you litter, dead. Have sex, dead.
Well, we don't quite know.
Do crystal meth, dead. Like, come on.
Yeah. And Scott does pay, I'm sure, because all the blood was already rushing to his head, so certainly there must have been, I don't know how he could clean up that scene so quickly as Scott gets his throat slashed. It would have left a ton of blood behind, but instead, like, his body's gone. Oh, no, his body's there. But there's no blood on the ground because Terry doesn't immediately see it. She has to turn him around. And she says, if she says something that said, well, you do this again, I'll kill you, as she sees his body. And then we cut to her, she sees Jason, his point of view, and then screams as we cut to fucking a rock and roll at this casino bar while the other characters are hanging out at, getting wasted. They're all getting wasted, and Jenny goes into her psychoanalysis of Jason because she believes him to be possibly a real person. Criscuolo, what's your thoughts on this?
I have to say, and I'll get more into it when we talk about that. I love Ginny. I think she's probably next to Alice, and she may actually be a notch above Alice. My favorite character, I mean, not counting Jason, obviously, my favorite character in the history of the franchise. I love Ginny. First of all, Amy Steele's a great actress. She was in April Fool's Day. I've met her at a con. She's really nice, and she doesn't go to a lot of cons. And I like the fact that she's not an idiot. Like, Alice was not, like, in the first movie, Alice was not stupid, but probably a little naive. Whereas Ginny is like, Ginny knows her surroundings. Like, she's She's not put up with Paul's bullshit. She's not putting up with anybody's shit. Like, she is who she is. And it's very refreshing to see because, again, as I mentioned before, it's, with the second Halloween coming out later that year, Laurie Strode was a very different kind of character. She was, strong, but not really strong. And, we at the time, you didn't know what the second movie was going to be about. But Ginny added so much kind of, like, confidence. And this scene in the bar where she's pretty much telling them what the fuck is up, I like a lot. Like, it's kind of hot. I'm not going to lie. That she's very authoritative and she's getting it. And she's like she's arguably my favorite character in the whole franchise. I think that's why I like this movie so much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jenny, it's the drunken antics of our characters here, the back and forth.
I think that this character is aptly named because she's the smartest and the most beautiful. Winner of the Jason Games.
Jason Games.
Okay.
The Murder Olympics. Wheel.
And Scott, would you have been collecting the beer bottles like Ted, hoping they don't fall down on you?
No, but that's also why he survives. So, I mean, sometimes you gotta play the game, and he played it well right here.
Yes, I was very shocked by this in my initial viewing. Shocked that anyone else shocked that the jokester, the prankster, lived.
I'm shocked that this one did because we see with the next one he didn't really do anything wrong and he dies. So
that's slightly debatable.
I mean, he's a terrible person, but
yeah. So anyway, we go from this back to the campsite as we get my fucking favorite kill of the movie as they find his side, like Mark said, it's like, okay, let's fuck. And Vicky's like, let me put something else on. Let me take off some nice looking panties and put on some fucking ugly, sexy brown pennies.
Wow.
I mean, does anybody agree? Like Jenny, like they look really bad.
I mean, it was a choice, but I mean, whatever makes a lady feel sexy in that moment, that's on her.
Anyway, Swing getting ready to, DTF. He gets the most memorable kill in this movie, maybe the most memorable kill in this series, as he gets a fucking machete to his fucking head. This wheelchair-bound character who then falls down these random steps that seem to come out of nowhere. Because he's on the deck, and we know the steps to the deck are only like 2 or 3. I don't know where these stone steps come from, the logistics, but it's still really memorable nonetheless.
I would like to think that he threw him down the steps like how Lesnar did Zach Allen.
or Orton Foley.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there weren't enough steps to match with the steps that this guy fell down. And we didn't see him fall all the way because we got one of those quick flash cuts that they also had in the first movie as Jason makes his way indoors.
So... like how I said I don't remember names here. My notes literally says, "Oh shit, Jason Street is going to fuck." Oh, Jason Street is killed, and then he's thrown down the steps.
Jason Street
sounds like a closer. Jason Street.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how I was putting notes because they would either say the names too quick, and I was too lazy to look because I knew they were just gonna die. They're just.
They're gonna die as somebody as we see two characters who are very much denied their climax as Jason goes upstairs, grabs the spear that was earlier used by Ted in his prank on everyone while Paul's telling his ghost story at the campfire. Ted scares everyone with this like goblin mask and a real spear, and Jason decides, I'm going to use this real spear to spear both Sandra and Jeff while they're in bed, get it on. So this is quite the twofer, Jenny.
Mm-hmm. It's about time people start dying in pairs. There's not enough of that.
I agree, Jenny.
Yeah.
While they're in each other, just fucking.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's the best way to go if you have to die like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
She's getting speared, then they're both getting speared.
There you
She's
go.
getting
For
speared.
sure.
She's getting speared twice.
Yes. Apparently, a very memorable kill that was apparently lifted almost shot for shot from a Gallo film called Bay of Blood, a movie I've never seen in full, but I have seen the clips of, and it's very much an homage.
Okay.
Yes. So you go from there, and their bodies are moved for whatever reason. Jason just likes to move people around. As Vicky goes to find Mark and goes up to that exact room, and Jason is sitting in the bed waiting for her. As we finally get the reveal of Jason, we've only seen parts, only seen like his hands and such, his feet. Now we actually see him in full profile with this potato sack head with one eye as he stabs her. Stabs her underneath. We only see her from like the chest up, so we presume he stabbed her in the stomach or something. Yeah.
Right.
To kill her. And just as Jenny and Paul show back up at the site and run to the worst nightmare possible, I guess, for them, as Jason attempts to use the same spear on Paul in the dark, and then briefly fights him off, and it gets knocked the fuck out. So he's done for most of the movie.
So first off, Jason looks about 5'6" in this fight. I don't know if you guys. I was like, who fucking put in Dean Malenko? So I was just like, my God, like Jason is supposed to be like, I've always imagined him being like, 6'10" or something, like almost 7 foot, and like he looks real short. It looks like that's when I was like, what the hell's going on right now?
Well, later films certainly have a different interpretation of him. I mean, he's certainly bigger because he's not a child compared to the end of the first film. He is a grown-sized adult, but yeah, he's not quite the hulking monster.
Well, and he's missing his hockey mask.
Yeah.
That's one thing I didn't
overalls.
realize was that it took him so long to get the hockey mask. Like, he didn't even get it in this movie. Like, that's what shocked me.
Me too.
Well, we're just sort of figuring out what this Jason mythology is going to be. These series don't really share too much of the same writers, producers, directors too much. I mean, we're lucky we'll have the same director in the next film, but it'll be an entirely different type of film. But yeah, we go into another extended chase sequence, much like the first one, where Ginny knees Jason in the balls. So it's my theory that he's still mostly a human being at this point. She finds bodies as she goes along, including Ralph, a character she never met, but he's there in the pantry. And Jason tries to again to her shit-ass car, established, that doesn't run so well. Yeah, just chasing all around until we end up at the shack. She runs into the woods and she finds the shack. And she finds what's in the back room, which is the disembodied head of his mother, and her sweater, her infamous white sweater, along with the bodies of Alice, the deputy, and Terry, surprisingly enough. It's brought there. And as Scott, we get into quite the sequence of events.
Yeah, this is like what I talked about with the long-term booking, is like she like does her child psychology and puts on the I guess it's like a sweater, right? Which is real weird that he still has that.
Yeah.
I think it's a sweater from the first movie, right?
Yeah, it's the sweater. It's
Yeah,
old,
it's
it's raggedy.
Yep.
So, and like she's like, "Oh, Jason, you did great, and almost gets him." And I'm like, "Damn, this is pretty deep," because she just drops it with like one line, and like I even have like written down like a madman. Like if my wife ever finds my podcast notes, she's like, "The hell did I marry?" Because I literally have long-term booking like taking up 3 lines like a madman, and underneath of it I have it highlighted. But no, I thought it was pretty cool, and like shows how smart, like I guess I will say Jenny's obviously the smartest person. You can cut that however you want, Jenny.
Cut it and paste it and put it in every podcast from here on out.
That'll be the opening of every podcast in the Jane position.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Criscuolo, we get her trying to psychologically psych out Jason. She makes him think he's talking to his mother, as she's cut interlaced with images of Betsy Palmer reprising her role as Mrs. Voorhees in A Black Void. Says to his psychological state. I mean, they don't technically look alike. I mean, they're both blonde women, but somehow it makes it work. She makes it work. And it goes so far as that she can almost get the drop on him to cut him with his own machete, if not for just some slight repositioning of her body where he can notice the head. So, yeah, Jenny, and what'd you think of this as I was cutting down?
I mean, it's pretty fucked up. Just gonna be honest, but like, it's smart. It's smart of our heroine. Okay, to to kind of go psychological on this. So I liked it. It's smart. I like this ending.
Yes. Did you feel that she should have taken out Jason herself, or that she needed her boyfriend to come in for the save at the last minute?
Yeah. Not my favorite part of that. Yes.
Yeah. As she does get slashed in the leg when Jason notices the ruse is over with, and Paul comes in and tries to grab Jason from behind, tries to give him the master lock, I guess. Old Nelson. They're wrestling on the ground, and then Jenny does grab the machete and cuts Jason in the shoulder, almost kind of separates his shoulder pretty much, and that's enough to take him out, presumably. As she feels the need. Is it her or Paul who wants to pull off the sack? I remember it. I think it's Paul.
Yeah, I think it's Paul too.
Yeah, he's got to know. So we don't see what they see, but they decide to just get the fuck out of there, and Paul has to carry her back to one of the cabins. As the events of this from this point forward are very debated of whether this actually happened or maybe this was a dream. But yeah, Criscuolo, we have them in the cabin, and we have a tease that Jason can be back, and it says Muffin alive, and then we have unmasked Jason crashing through a window.
He's looking all fucked up. It was.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Kind of hearkening back to the first movie with him, jumping out of the water to grab Alice. Same thing. I like the fact that they don't show us his face when the two of them see it, just kind of there. It's the fact that he's through the window and he's got, the look and the hair, and he's all fucking fucked up and shit. And it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. I think it's a great reveal, great moment there. And a hearkening back to the first one when he jumped out of the water. And I mean, he practically looked, obviously, great job on makeup. I don't know if Savini did this one. I don't know if it was somebody else, but
he did not.
Yeah, no, I've had a feeling he didn't do this one. And a great job to make the face almost identical to Ari Lehman's mask in the first one. And he just looked amazing. It was awesome. I loved it. I thought it was an amazing moment to harken back and, kind of like all of a sudden Ginny wakes up and, what the fuck happened kind of thing. I enjoyed it. It was a good moment.
Yes, this is becomes kind of a tradition itself where we have the reveal of Jason's face presumably at the end of every movie, and it's always a little different because they always cast different actors and the makeup's always different. But this is certainly the most hair he's had. He will have a lot of like long stringy hair with the deformed eye and such, and yeah. And then Jenny wakes up and she's girding onto on a stretcher, going into an ambulance the next morning, and we are left wondering what the fuck happened as she screams out, "Where's Paul? Where's Paul?" Obviously, I can't think about that without also thinking of The Wire later on. Where's Wallace? Where the fuck is Wallace?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know what's happening. We just know she's going to an ambulance. By all accounts from the internet, And by the next movie, the way they count the bodies, he's not killed, but we just never see him again. As the last shot of the movie is the scene back in the shack with Mrs. Voorhees' head, and thankfully they cut out the very dumb ending that they shot where the eyes open, because that would have killed this movie fucking dead in tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Even
I was fully expecting that to happen.
Oh, they shot it. Someone had the right idea to not show it.
Right. I agree.
Yes. So, yes. Scott, what are your overall thoughts and your favorite kill from this film?
My favorite kill is when the guy in the wheelchair got thrown down the steps. I probably shouldn't have laughed at that, but I did. Just because of how absurd it looked. Movie was okay. Slightly better than the original because we got the original. We got like who I think of as the OG killer for the Friday the 13th movies. So I was okay with that.
Okay, and Jenny?
Yeah, I mean, this is I feel like a pretty worthy sequel. I don't know. It feels like the middle, or not the middle, obviously, but it feels like just kind of the beginning of a story, and it's very much leaves you wanting more. It's not really filling as a movie, if that makes sense. Because a lot of this stuff is kind of exactly the same as the first one, but for what it is, it's pretty good. I would definitely have it second ranked out of the two. And my favorite kill was the spear while being speared.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Criscuolo.
Even horror can have some double penetration. So maybe it is porn. But no, I it's funny. I've seen this one a million times, and I just watched it again recently to prepare for this. And there's definitely things about this one that I like better than the first one. I will take Jenny every day of the week. She's a better heroine. And I got to tell you, and I know we'll get into it when we get to the next movie. The Sackhead Jason, which is what he's affectionately called on horror boards, the Friday the 13th Part 2 Jason, Sackhead Jason, I think is actually more terrifying than like even the Kane Powder Jason down the line. I know we don't get Kane for a few movies, but I kind of like the fact that he's like this, deformed, almost hillbilly kind of thing. He's hanging in a fucking shack in the woods and like all this shit that we never see again from here on out. I kind of like the grounded, like the humanity of it. Like he could take a knee to the nuts or, a simple fucking, like 5 movies from now. Do you think a fucking machete to the shoulder would do anything to him? No. You know what I mean? Like there's something about the fact that he was a more human killer and the one-eyed sack and everything. Like I would argue this might be my favorite version of Jason because it's so grounded and he's got the fucking overalls and it almost reminds me of Leatherface to a certain extent, like just this crazy whacked out fucking hillbilly in the backwoods of New Jersey. That's the way it's supposed to be, I suppose. But it just seems very grounded and very human that you don't see. I mean, you do see it in these next two, but definitely from that point on, it's all bets are off. And she's amazing. I mean, I love it. Again, I've always had a soft spot for Amy Steele. I like her as an actress, and I love Ginny. So, parts of me actually may rank this one higher than the first one for a lot of reasons. And those are two of them. I love the heroine better, and no disrespect to Betsy Palmer by every stretch, but this grounded, raw version of Jason, to me is more compelling than any of the Jasons any more versions of him after this.
All right. And what's your favorite kill from Jason?
It's got to be what's his name? Ned. Was he the wheelchair guy? Ned.
Mark.
Yeah. It's iconic. because it's almost like a callback to The Exorcist with Father Karras falling down the stairs at the end, with the long staircase and everything. So I mean that kills pretty awesome.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm also in agreement. That is my favorite kill. I mean, there's a lot of really good kills. As obviously you can see, it's a little more of a first sequel's budget on screen, and they successfully create a new horror icon, someone who becomes very sustainable. As they really are getting to this is a franchise now. Now we can really do something with it. As we will get into our next film, they're gonna take the terror to the third dimension, and things get really crazy from here. As we'll discuss Friday the 13th Part 3 and Part 4, the final chapter, after we take a very quick break right here on this episode of Blockbuster Rewind. And we're back with the 12th episode of Blockbuster Rewind, covering the first 4 movies of the Friday the 13th franchise. And we are continuing on into the next phase, the next dimension of terror, as we are covering 1982's Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. A movie I've never seen in actual 3D. Maybe Criscuolo, maybe you might be the only one of us who possibly has.
Yes, I did see it in 3D. Yes, I did, because it was actually on. I didn't see it in the theater in 3D, but I think I remember on regular TV, they did a special night. I don't know if it was I don't think it was HBO, like channel, like local TV or whatever, and you could buy the glasses at Stop and Shop or whatever, and do it. So I didn't watch it on the big screen in 3D. I watched it on TV in 3D, and it was okay. It was okay. And we'll get into the 3D gimmicks as we move along, but it was okay for what it was. I mean, it was probably the last 3D gimmick movie before 3D kind of lost its oomph. Jaws 3 in 3D, I think, was the year before, or it might have been that year.
Yeah,
and I saw in the movies, and that was awful.
Yes.
Not just the movie, but the 3D was not good either.
No.
No, but this was, at this point, 3D was pretty much losing its oomph. But no, I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on TV in 3D.
Right. So Scott, Jenny, could you tell this movie was originally shot for 3D?
Oh yeah, especially when the yo-yo, and it's oh, that's supposed to scare me, or I'm pretty sure there's an eye at one point.
Mm-hmm.
It was just real shit. I've never been into the 3D gimmick. I know it had it came back in the mid 2000s, but I was this is just a waste of money. I remember people were buying 3D TVs. I was what, so you can wear those goofy ass glasses?
I would agree and second with all of that. I've never been. Well, I have a depth perception, motion sickness issue anyway. So 3D fucks me up, and my brain just can't comprehend it anyway. So I've never seen a 3D movie.
Yeah, I've rarely ever seen a 3D movie. Just because of the fact that I wear glasses and I'm very farsighted. Or yeah, the last movie I saw in 3D was I saw The Winter Soldier because I was out of town visiting family and I went to an IMAX 3D. So I put up with it there. So thankfully it was a good movie, so go along with it. But this movie is not quite as good as that. I think could be a general consensus as we need to Friday the 13th Part 3, which weirdly in tradition of Halloween 2, takes place directly after part 2. You wouldn't know it unless you saw this recap, this 6-minute recap of the end of part 2, with this inserted scene of Jason crawling away, maskless. We don't see his face around because he's going to get a new redesign on his makeup. But he does crawl away as we then get into our title sequence. And holy shit. We get into, in my opinion, one of the best disco tracks of all time. Criscuolo, will you agree with me on this?
I do, Mr. Eells. I have to say that it's one of the grooviest kind of opens. I think they wanted to really set you up for the fact that, this was going to be another Friday chapter, but I think we're going to have a little fun at the same time. So it definitely, they definitely took it in a different direction. But yeah, I totally dig the disco groove, even though it is 3 years too late. I think that adds to the charm of it, though. You know what I mean? Good job by Steve Miner to want to do that.
Yeah, and Harry Manfredini for I think he's the one who put it together.
Yeah.
It's memorable. I remember last year for Halloween, I wanted to play Friday the 13th because I saw it was on the music box on the digital Much Music system, and I played it, and it was the disco tune. Surprisingly
that's awesome.
enough,
that's awesome.
It was mislabeled, but I was still enjoying myself. As we get to this movie immediately follows up part 2. You wouldn't know it, but Jason is around. He's not dead, but he is. Yes. I know he's not dead, but he's going to get himself some new clothing as he goes by this general store in town, in the Crystal Lake General area, and he kills the owners and steals some clothing. He the male owner, pull up the name.
It's Harold and Edna.
Harold and Edna. Yes, Harold. Harold has some jump scares in his own store as he's stealing his own food.
Ugh, he's eating the fish food. That's so fucking gross.
Yeah, it really is.
So gross.
It's no wonder he gets both scared and obviously his bad food intake. It leads him to the John, where he immediately gets killed right after the fact. Right after he gets out of his outhouse, he gets a cleaver to the stomach. So by Jason, this newest Jason, because obviously it's a new actor. It's more of a taller Jason. It's more of a Jason you expect. Yeah.
Yep.
And then Anna is killed with one of her knitting needles. Knitting needles. Sorry. Knitting needles. Sorry. Oh, it's a little late now. It's the Maduro shot. It's getting to me now. Or staring in front of a computer for several hours. Who knows? But she's killed after a Steve Miner cameo as the news anchor relays the events of the previous day of all the bodies they found. And Jason goes on from there as we meet our newest characters, Chris, City Girl Chris and her friends who are heading out to Hagen's Haven, a farmhouse that her family owns. I guess a family home with all of her city friends. And this is quite the crew of characters. Obviously, we've been talking about beforehand, but this is the introduction of the prankster Shelley for this film, and quite the prankster he is. Scott.
Oh, he's the worst. I was wanting him to die from the beginning. Sadly, it's just drawn out. Like, he's basically just a piece of shit. Like, you're supposed to feel bad for him. And, like, there's, like, great value, like, Cheech and Chong in this group, where I guess it's just Cheech, because Cheech this time is getting some pussy, and then...
Yeah.
And they're just... It seems like everyone's, like, they were just like, we're just basically going to make characters based on pop culture. Like, we have, like, the tough girl that, like, Shelley's supposed to get with, and then the guy and the girl, and then you have like this random girl, Chris. And I was like, who the hell am I supposed to know who this is? Like, I watched these movies like pretty recently, and I was like, did I miss like something in one or two where like we're supposed to know who Chris is? Because she's like, my family lives around here. She has this weird like backstory with like, it gets kind of dark. Like, did Jason like sexually assault her? Like, what's going on here? Like, and then like that's never followed up on ever. So it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, it is the most randomest of weird shit. For a random weird movie in itself, noted by the fact that they never say the name Jason at all. Nobody knows who the fuck this guy is. Yeah, you notice that, Jenny?
No, I didn't notice that, but that's interesting.
That is weird. So we have all of her friends. We have the Cheech and Chong. Let's just call them. We have Debbie and Andy, her acrobatic boyfriend. Debbie, who is inexplicably pregnant for this fucking movie.
Oh, by the way, also says she's pregnant, and then before she gets killed, spoiler alert, says she wants a beer. Slip that. Yeah.
What year is this?
This is 1982. Yeah. Well, she doesn't want to eat like the pure weed when they think they're going to get pulled over for having all this fucking weed on them, obviously, because it's emanating from the back of the car.
And one of these guys looks like Great Value Scott Baio.
Andy? The guy who likes to walk on sands? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So they're all going to go up to Higgins Haven. Before then, they do that. They also meet up with Chris's former boyfriend Rick, and they have their little weird side plot. Them trying to get back together. It means nothing. So it's really just like Shelley's driving most of the stuff going on because he's an asshole and he likes to pull pranks. He's like effects artist and such. He's always scaring people. He thinks he falls out of a drawer. People think he's dead, like he's got a hatch in the head. So yeah, it's a real asshole maneuver. So, but he's also like, he's trying to get up with that girl, Vera. So it's just, he's the worst. But Jason's just stalking them. He stalks them for a very long while. While Shelley and Vera go into town and have a run-in with some members of a motorcycle gang, which adds a little levity. Ali, Loco, and Fox. Where there's the bit where Shelley is throwing his wallet to Vera to help pay for something, and the Fox, the female biker, intercepts it and pulls out his rubber. What's you think of that, Jenny?
That was great.
Yeah, classic, right?
Yeah. Well,
also, it feels a little tropey with like the motorcycle gang. There's like a big epidemic of like motorcycle gangs just like beating the hell out of random people out in the 80s or something, because that's what it seemed like the movies made it. It's like these rogue motorcycle gangs just beating the shit and burning places down.
Yeah. Well, they're living on the outskirts of society. They're not conforming like everyone else. So, real Sons of Anarchy shit. But yeah, so Shelley is humiliated, understandably, as he should be, because he's barely a man. And then he mans up by accidentally knocking over their bikes. And then one of the bikers, understandably, is pissed and punches out their window with a chain wrapped around his fist. And then Shelley gets all pissy and runs over their bikes intentionally this time around, sending the bikers off on a path of revenge. Yes, and we still haven't gotten too many kills yet, have we, in this movie?
No, definitely not.
The pace needs to pick up.
For sure.
An homage to the first one with the fucking 45-minute
bullshit.
Yes.
It's like they're adding so many extra people to kill, but they're taking fucking too long to add all these fucking people to kill. They could have added great value, charming, great, in like the first 10 minutes. Why do we have to go to the store and break his balls with this fucking 1982 Velcro wallet? Drop the rubber. Like, why do we have to go through all this bullshit? Just fucking, they should drive up to the barn and start breaking balls. Like, why do we got to deal with all this character shit? I mean,
yeah, there's I'm looking at it. There's 25 minutes in between Edna getting stabbed through the back of her head and Fox getting A nice little kill. Like we see the aftermath of a pitchfork in the neck when they go to the barn and they're siphoning gas out of Chris's van and they want to set the barn on fire as revenge. But Jason is hiding in the barn. He's making that his base during his stalking, so he intercepts them. And Fox gets a pitchfork in the neck. Loco gets a pitchfork through his stomach, so we can see the tip of the pitchfork in 3D and such. So he dies while smoking. Is that another way you want to go out?
Another morality death, okay?
Yeah, really.
And what's his face? The leader, Ellie. He is not dead yet. He is presumed to be. He's in a scuffle with Jason, and we are led to believe that he's been hacked a bit because Jason hacks him like 2 or 3 times on the ground. And then we don't see him for a while, but he is not dead. As we are then led to night. Side note, this is when I started watching the movie on that VHS I previously mentioned, because the third film was not recorded completely. After the second film was done, it only started in the middle of the third film. So that's how I initially saw it from this point.
So you came in at the perfect time because shit's about to finally pick up.
Yeah.
Yes. With Chris going off with Rick and just talking about her backstory intercut with this weird stranger who found her in the woods after a fight with her folks, and she doesn't remember what the fuck happened, and it's very weird and complete place for this whole series. Criscuolo.
Yeah, I don't know if they were trying to connect the dots here. Like we never hear anything about her before. I mean, I don't know if it's just to kind of give Jason a little more that he's, because obviously this obviously happened between part 1 and part 2. So I don't know if Steve Miner meant to kind of give us a sense that Jason's been doing this the whole time and he didn't just start doing it 5 years after the first movie. Because obviously if this is taking place immediately after part 2, when the fuck did she deal with this? So obviously I think it was meant to give us a frame of reference that Jason's been doing this literally since his mother died 5 years ago. And he was, Chris was one of the first of the tormented, per se. So I get it. I mean, it's kind of random, but I kind of get it. I guess it gives us a frame of reference how long Jason's been doing this.
Yes.
That's okay.
And from this point, we cut back to all the other dead meats in the house, essentially, as Shelley and Andy are just practicing their juggling before Andy's obviously called away to have sex with his girlfriend like an adult. And Shelley can't close the deal on Vera at all, despite his earlier perceived bravery in staying up to those biker punks. Because she's not going to get curled into bed, obviously. So she decides to go for a walk, and Shelley decides to just be a fucking asshole and use his hockey mask and his wetsuit and scare her in the water with a spear gun. He has all this stuff he brought with him. This is clearly signs that he has some disturbed behavior of his own. Because this guy could end up a fucking psycho himself had he lived through this movie. So, yeah, Jenny, what are your thoughts on this? We last see Shelley alive for the last time. She scares Vera and then tries to pull this I'm a nice guy bullshit.
Nobody's buying that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah.
Fuck off, Shelley.
More kills, please.
Yeah. Blaming social awkwardness is not good enough for being a dick. So maybe he should have been stabbed in the dick. She apparently never uses. So.
Well, you do get your wish, Jenny, as he is led away into the barn for some reason, and we don't know what happens right away, but we do see someone approach Vera. We see quite the entrance, full profile Jason, hockey mask, spear gun. We get one hell of a kill. He shoots her right into the fucking eye with the spear gun as she lands in the water, and then he just throws that fucker down and looks to that house like, here I come. And from there, he just starts ripping through everyone.
Yep.
In several minutes. another really crazy kill as Andy, after having some shower sex, goes to get his pregnant girlfriend a beer, and he's walking on his hands, and he encounters Jason, who splits him in fucking half.
Yeah, he does.
Can you tell from that position before the reveal that was happening?
No, not really.
Yeah. Couldn't really tell too much until you see a few minutes later when Debbie is finished her shower, goes to her hammock, because they were stuck with having a hammock in their room instead of a bed, which I've never tried sleeping in a hammock. I don't think it'd be that comfortable.
I don't know how they fucked in that hammock. I was hoping they would show that part, but they didn't.
No. It takes too much time away. We need the time for the special effects shots for 3D. That's all.
We could have had time if they didn't do 40 minutes of fucking garbage character development earlier.
Yeah.
Shelley and his stupid rubber he'd never use.
So,
Jesus.
Yeah. So Debbie is hanging out. She's reading a Fangoria magazine. I think about Tom Savini. I definitely see there's the write-up about Godzilla as some blood spurts down on her, and we see Andy's split body above her. And then in a repeat of the first film, she gets the Kevin Bacon death of the getting impaled through her neck.
Yep.
I was surprised they repeated that, Scott.
Little concerning that they're on the third movie and running out of ways how to kill people. Might be time to hang it up, but thankfully, they do get creative with how they kill people in the next movie.
Yes, and they pick things up just a little bit here, because we see what happened to Shelley. He got throat slit. Obviously, that's something they've been repeating a lot. It's a really goodie by this point. As everyone thinks it's another stupid fucking joke, until he just fucking dies. Dies.
And then we all laugh.
Yep.
And then we're all like, finally, goddamn.
Finally.
Jesus Christ. As Jason somehow makes his way upstairs into the basement without being seen, the hint of his future teleportation-ness he has when he becomes undead. And he electrocutes Chuck, the male stoner. He is thrown into the electrical box. And blows out the power. And then Chili very horribly acts when she's terrified as the wind is picking up outside and blows the door open. And this is awful acting by this point. I'm so happy she then gets impaled with a hot fire poker. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she was
awesome.
terrible. She was terrible.
Yeah.
Good death.
She is terrible. Good death. Terrible character. And then as that happens, Rick and Chris come back to the house, and as everything is a mess, the house could have been on fire if they didn't pull off that popcorn that was popping on the stove. Jason didn't care that time to pull something off his hot stove compared to the tea.
All his give-a-fucks are gone, obviously.
Yeah. No. So, and then they separate, of course, because they're dumb and they separate. And Rick gets one of the most talked about deaths, for good and for bad in the series. Jenny, what do you think of this death? His head is literally crushed until his eyeball pops out.
I gotta admit, I'm a sucker for a head crunch and an eyeball pop out, so I marked out for that death.
Scott, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was pretty good, but also it shows like Jason can whoop all these men's asses, but then you see him fighting with a woman, and she always beats his ass. So that's it's pretty good for female empowerment, because Rick's supposed to be oh, I'll protect you, babe, and next thing you know, he walks outside and Jason's hey man, got some smokes in the car, and that's how he gets him. So but literally last movie, Jenny was fighting her on her hands and knees while her boyfriend got his ass whooped. We see Rick just gets his ass whooped now, and then we're gonna see Chris basically go toe to toe with him. It's what are we doing? Jason should know by now. I know he's stupid. He should probably just kill the males. Don't worry about the females, because they will beat his ass.
I think it might go back to that mom thing though, right? So maybe he takes it easier on the chicks or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. there's been some pretty brutal deaths more towards the women this time around.
Mm.
So, but yeah, so she is Chris left by her lonesome until Rick's body is thrown through the fucking window, that big plain glass window in the living room, and it's awesome. And she is also a very good screamer when she sees Jason and runs up that spiral staircase into the second floor, where she finds her best friend and has to pull the knife out of her back to defend herself against Jason. As she just goes wildly swinging when in the hallway, stabs him in the knee, and then makes a run for it out of a second-story window before Jason hucks that knife at her head. So things are really starting picking up at this point, right? It's much improved from the first half of the movie.
Yeah, definitely getting to the big climax, right?
Yeah. So, yes. But speaking of gas, Chris can't leave her shag wagon because the gas was siphoned out, at least of the first tank earlier. As she is stuck on this little wooden bridge, which that van should not be there for too long until she realizes she has to switch over tanks. I guess that's that van can do back in the day. And it's too late. One of the wheels is already stuck in the bridge, so the van can't move, and she has to book it to back to the barn. So this chase sequence is far it's less time than the first two, so I'll give the movie credit there. Yes.
What would you guys do? I mean, like, do you run back to the barn? Like, in the woods? Like, I don't know.
I'm already dead.
Yeah, you're right. You've been dead. But
that was the first kill.
What do I do?
Stay on a road. Just keep running on a road. Maybe you'll hit somebody. I would do that
too. I don't know that I would go hide. I would just keep moving.
But, find more people as a buffer of death. Like, just find more people for him to kill before he keeps getting to you. So run off to the cops, bring them, or whatever. I don't know why you would go back. That's where everybody's dead.
Yeah. You know? I would not go back. I mean, the woods are scary, but like, I don't know. I'm taking my chances in there.
Yeah. Well, she's taking her chances. She blocks the door for a bit until Jason's able to get inside. We realize she is hiding on a beam in the middle of the barn, but she can't hold herself too long because she slips underneath and then falls onto Jason, trying to knock him out. Not a bad plan, but it's not going to work. And then she leads him up into the second area of the barn, where she's able to get the drop on him and then tie a noose around his neck and then drop him from the second story to the first and hang him. And by this point, Scott, you gotta be thinking he's fucking done for sure.
No, I'm like, keep whooping that ass, but of course she just lets him go. I would have been like, nah, we're gonna cut off every arm, every leg, so he can't come after me.
No. No, but it doesn't quite work, surprisingly enough, is breaking his neck as he's able to pull himself up, and that's when we finally get he has to take the mask off to unwrap the rope, and we finally see his face for this film. No hair, less ragged than the last film, but she certainly recognized him as the guy who attacked her. It's you. That's all we get, obviously, because his name is never used in this fucking movie for some reason. And she's scared shitless, and has his machete, and he's about to finish her off when that guy Ali comes back out of nowhere, only to get his own fucking arm cut off. Jenny, what did you think of this? Did you think this was ridiculous?
Of course I thought it was ridiculous, but, I mean, I'm still going to watch a dude get his arm cut off.
Yes. As Jason makes sure to finish that kill, for sure, as he keeps whacking on his body until he makes sure he's dead.
I mean, how badass is it if somebody is hanging there and they, like, lift their self up on the rope? I mean, like, it was pretty cool.
It was. Yeah. For somewhat of a human person, this is always a weirdness. But yeah, he survives that. But he does not presumably survive this final bit by Chris, where she has enough time to grab an axe. And a very famous shot, she takes it right to his dome. She also gets some of the mask, which is a recurring thing that stays in the rest of the series, that axe cut.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she brings him, and presumably that's it. That's what's going to do it. Criscuolo, when you initially saw this movie, did you think that was it? It was finally done?
Yes, I did actually. Because again, we didn't have at the time, I don't think we knew about long franchises. A year earlier, Michael Myers was burned to death in the hospital, so we thought that was the end of that. And yeah, so you thought that, okay, this was good. Again, I think that's why we get the backstory about what happened to her with him, because it adds some meaning to the kill, or to the supposed kill, that this mysterious person apparently tormented her, and she's the one that gets the last laugh. So I did think it was over. I did think it was it here.
Okay. And yes, and another repeat of the first, which would give you the intention maybe they thought this would be the last movie. She finds a canoe and she goes down to the water to sleep off all the terror. The adrenaline must be wearing down, so she needs to rest. Then she's scared awake during the day, and then Jason comes running out, maskless Jason, and she thinks that, like, oh, he's going to come after her, and then he doesn't. She turns away, and then he's not there. It's a hallucination. And then the biggest what the fuck so far in the series, the decomposing corpse of Mrs. Voorhees, a person Chris has no history with and wouldn't even know who that was, pulls her out into the water, just like Jason in the first movie. Jenny, what are your thoughts on that? Jenny?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was muted. Okay, so, yeah, that was, I mean, I like the, kind of the callback to the canoe or whatever, like the first one. Or a lot of this is just callbacks to the first one, though. I mean, it's the same fucking story. I mean, I've watched the story 3 fucking times by now, but anyway, I liked it. It was okay.
Yeah. Scott, do you think that was weird?
I just think they're trying to do jump scares, like Saul stole this type of thing from them years later when they would like do the big reveal at the end, and this was just like, which way are we going to show something that may or may not happen? And this is just what they were doing. By this point, it feels old, and we still see it in the 4th movie. I don't know if we see it in the 5th or the 6th movie, but it's old and played out by this point. Considering like these movies came out, I didn't realize they came out year after year after year. Like, they're definitely trying to milk this for all it's worth, but then it does it to itself.
Yes. However, we do get a change of pace as we cut to later. The police are there and they find Chris, and Chris is just fucking insane by this point. She has lost her mind with everything that's happened to her, understandably so. As we see the police take her away, she's just laughing hysterically as her brain is broken. As they cut to the farmhouse, Jason's body has not been moved yet. And then we cut to the serene tranquility of that dirty-ass lake water. Does not look as good as the first 2 films, if it's supposed to be the same area. And that's where we end the film. So, with our heroine going to the nut hut, which I guess is still an upgrade than getting killed, because originally they shot scenes of her getting her head cut off. So, Jenny, it's like, now, upgrade, I guess.
I mean, I kind of wanted to see her get her head cut off by the end of it, so maybe not an upgrade. Yeah, I don't know. This one is a pretty much a miss for me. Like, it's just like even 3 into it, like even without realizing there's 12 movies. I mean, like I said, we're kind of getting real repetitive. There's nothing kind of new here. So it really just feels like a waste.
Yeah. What would you say would at least be your favorite kill from the film?
This one does have some pretty cool kills. I don't know. Circle back.
Okay. Criscuolo, your thoughts. Did you think this movie was a little underwhelming? Do you think it was mostly just about the 3D effects?
Oh, there's no doubt it was about the 3D effects. Yeah, it was all about making sure, you get the eyeball and the fucking, I think it was a bat or something, some other shit. And yeah, it was all about weaving the juggling and all that crap. Yeah, this took too long to develop. I know we're making fun of with the fucking, the convenience store and all that shit, but this was definitely more than it needed to be. If you look back, you could skip this one and probably be fine. And my favorite kill was definitely, because it's like one that I'll always remember, and that's Vera getting the spear gun to the eye. I think that's like one of the coolest kills ever. Incidentally, the one that plays Debbie, the pregnant one, ended up becoming a TV journalist, Tracy Savage. She ended up retiring from acting and became a news reporter. And she was big during the whole OJ trial and stuff, and then she kind of went back to acting a little bit in the mid 2000s. But I remember watching her years later during the OJ trial, going, "Why does she look familiar?" And then I watched this movie and went, "Holy shit, that's her!" So it's pretty funny that like she left acting right after this and ended up becoming a journalist. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, this is one you could actually skip. Like if you just want to look at the bare story of the story, I think you watch the first two and then the last one we're about to do, and you could skip this one, honestly. Except for the kills. The couple of kills are good. Like if you have this Blu-ray set, the one good thing that Shout Factory did, I think they all did it, is you could just watch the kills. This is one I think you could probably. I think if you go to like the special features, I think they just had the kills all in a row. Just watch the kills and you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, skip the rest. And I like the pitchfork deaths.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too. They're cool. Good call, Jenny. I like the
All
pitchfork.
right. Cool.
Yep.
And Scott, what are your overall thoughts and favorite death?
If this would have been the last movie, I would have been okay with it because it was just so bad. Like what Scott and Jenny said, my favorite death was Great Value. Scott Baio getting killed while he was walking with his hands. You kind of deserve it if you're doing that. You're just being a smart ass.
Yeah.
More morality deaths.
He's just showing off his flexibility.
Scott's narrow margin of error. What I'm trying to say, margin of error for deaths is like very, very like minimal. Like anything can get you murdered.
Yeah.
According to Schiff.
You're showing off. You're gonna get killed. Sorry, it's just the way it is.
Okay.
Brutal
Indeed. It's very brutal, but is Scott moving your furniture or something?
That wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Weird.
Wasn't me.
Okay.
Jason did it on the counter.
All right. Well, just moving on. My final thoughts are: this is an okay movie. It's very haphazard. Obviously, it's all about the 3D effects. Certainly, that's why I enjoy the spear gun to the face of Vera. It's my favorite death. I think it just looks pretty good as an effect on its own without the 3D. And it works. I'm happy this wasn't the last film because it was really going on a sour down note. So thankfully the movie is successful enough with obviously the additional prices for 3D. Because obviously you're going to upcharge people for that. And they took some time off as we cut to April 13th, 1984. So 4 days after my birth is our next movie. The last movie we're going to cover tonight, and my personal favorite of these four, Friday the 13th, quote, the final chapter, as it was intended at the time. So, and we are right off with a very good recap of the first three films with Paul's speech for the campfire, the second film, and we just get the highlights. We get the highlights, and it's 3 minutes. We're in and out, and we're going right to the title sequence of the final chapter. We're getting a quick introduction, and then we get cut to a great sequence to me. There's a real scope of this film as we cut to the helicopter, as we see all the police are still at Higgins Haven, because this movie takes place right after the third movie. This is all take place in the span of 1 week, 2, 3, and 4, which is obviously unintentional, but it weirdly works. Works more in this case, at least, because we're seeing the direct follow-up to part 3 as the police are dragging all the bodies out, including Jason's. And he's going to the morgue because he's dead. Obviously, he's fucking dead. So, Jenny, what are your initial thoughts on this?
He's fucking dead. So, what are we doing? Why is this a movie? He's obviously not coming back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're seeing the whole scope fit. The police are taking away all the bodies, and then the woods are returned to quiet tranquility. That's why I really enjoy that last shot. All the police are gone, and then it's quiet for a second, and it cuts right to the banging through the doors of the hospital. They're on the way to the morgue as we meet our first real fucking weird skis character, Axel, the mortician, who is he thinks the girls are cute, even if they're still dead. There's still some cute girls there.
Yeah, he's definitely banged a couple of the bodies, right? We can all agree on that.
That's the feeling you're getting from this?
Yes.
Yeah. I would guess so.
And as we discussed, Jenny, he's got to go, right?
He's got to go.
Mm-hmm. He's got to go, but first he's got to mac on Nurse Robbie. And he talks her into a makeout session right there in the morgue next to the body, but he's still got to be fucking focused on this aerobics on TV. This guy's oversexed fucking lunatic. Look what you got right in front of you, pal. So, anyway,
he's an asshole, right?
He's such an asshole. He blows it big time.
This nurse is fucking hot too.
He has no. Totally not in his. He's not in her league.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's not even worth shooting it. They should have just fucking. Yeah.
And that's how I knew this movie was going to be different. People are gonna start banging 5 minutes in. See a lot of tits and ass. Fucking love it. That's why it's my favorite.
This is giving exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, I want to see in a horror movie people dying, number 1. Boobs that lead to the people dying, number 2. And then for 3, see points 1 and 2.
Well,
that's excellent criteria.
For sure. We have to wait just a few minutes for boobs because Nurse Robbie zips up and goes back on the floor because Axel can't close the deal. Instead, he gets his throat slit, and then his head turned around and it is a bloody mess. I think blood gets on some of the TV. And then Jason goes and he grabs her by the neck. He picks up the nurse. He stabs her in the chest and he slits her torso open. As then we, smash cut to mother-daughter jogging. As we meet the Jarvis family, who have been here this entire time. They've always been here. They just live in the woods in a area far enough from the lake you have to walk or drive through to, but safe enough to not be targeted by Jason. So, and obviously from here we meet young Tommy Jarvis. We meet the Feldster himself, Corey Feldman. Criscuolo, is he one of your guys? Was he one of your guys?
Yes. He was. I did like him early on. He got a little more annoying as time progressed, but I did like him in this. He was a good choice for this. He was unknown at the time for the most part.
Yes.
which was good. I don't think it would have been smart to have like a well-known. That's the one good thing they did with these movies from here on out is you didn't want any well-known, actors in these roles because you didn't want Jason to be overstated. But he was very vocal, both on the commentary for this movie and in the features that Joseph Zito, the director, was a fucking dick. Like, he treated him like shit. He treated the women like he was just total garbage. He probably deserved a good hacksaw to the fucking throat. Like, no one had a good thing to say about the director here. And he's not even the porn director. The guy after him is. But but this guy was just a fucking jerk off apparently on set. So, which is one of the reasons why he decided not to come back for the next one. But I thought it was a good choice. I thought it was a good choice. He definitely fit that role of the kid with the masks and kind of the cool sci-fi fan and everything. So, yeah, no, good choice. I liked it.
Yes. His name is Tommy. Tom Savini is back for this movie because he seems like I'm gonna be the one to kill off Jason, and obviously you see he's got more of a budget to the first film, and he is showing off big time. Yeah. He is showing the fuck off.
Yep.
Yep. As we meet Tommy and his sister, and his mother, and then we cut to our dead meat teens coming into town. And Scott, I know you're not big on character development, but I just can't help but fucking love seeing Crispin Glover here. His fucking neuroticness as just his heightness, neuroticness.
I don't think that's acting. I think that's just him.
You think that's just him?
Yes.
Yeah, I might have to back up Scotty on that one.
Yeah.
Crispin Glover's a little strange.
I
think for the rest of his life we'd know that.
Yes. He's fantastic as Jimmy and his fucking boy Ted are discussing Jimmy's can't get with a girl. They're talking about the imaginary computer that says you're a dead fuck. It's all very memorable, funny dialogue. They stand out from the pack of all the other teens to me, as they're renting the house next door, so across the street from the Jarvises, to just hang out, to fucking party, fuck around, and swim in the lake, of course. But on their way to there, they pass by a hitchhiker. This mute hitchhiker who wants to promote peace and love. If not, then you can go fuck yourself, Jenny. And what do you think of the hitchhiker?
If not, you can go fuck yourself. It's definitely in line with the hippie lifestyle.
Well, that's the back for sign. It says "fuck you." After Ted goes wolf wolf.
I love it. It's amazing.
That was amazing. She was killed after eating her banana, and she was squeezing out her banana out of the peel as she was getting stabbed in the neck.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yes. Yes, and then we go from there, and the kids are at the camp. Not the camp, they're at the houses, and they meet, they're on the way to the lake, and they meet fucking the Delmit twins, Tina and Terry. Scott, you want some more nudity, you want some boobage, you got it more right here.
Yeah, like, first off, like, if I was just, like, walking around the woods and, like, two randos came up on me, even if they were hot girls, I'd be like, hey, can we follow you? Like, absolutely fucking not. I'll lose a kidney that way. Like, people were a whole lot more, like, I guess, like, nice back in the 80s. Like, yeah, you can come with us. I'm like, fuck you, find your own way to the lake. Am I wrong in thinking this? Like,
you're not wrong, but it's like...
It is morally wrong to ask for directions from hot twins.
Yeah, like, fuck you, you're dead.
You're going to die soon anyway, hot twins.
Yeah.
While you bang George McFly.
Yeah. And well, the sexy teens are mean more sexy teens. What's it? Tommy and his brother, Trish.
Also, Tommy's a little bit of a perv, Eells.
Yeah, I was about to ask you.
We have that scene where he's watching the girl get undressed, and then like the dog runs away, Gordon, and like everyone's skinny dipping, and he's like trying to catch a look while Trish is cock blocked.
I was gonna ask you if you ever had that reaction that Feldman did in bed when he's watching across the street a girl get undressed and get with a boyfriend. He's just jumping up and down on his bed. He can't fucking control his emotions.
Adolescence.
Yeah.
Puberty. It's a thing.
Yes.
That just happens.
So he seems very smart, evolved, but not too evolved because he's still a fucking 10-year-old child. But he knows enough to try and fix a car when the car breaks down before this hitchhiker, this fucking beef boy Rob, comes out of nowhere to help to fix the engine as long as he gets a lift. Because just real Rob out there hunting. So yeah, more characters. Obviously, there's some time between kills. Were you ever bored, Scott, while it's downtime?
No, because I had boobies, so I was fine. I was okay. But I will say, like, it did take a little bit of time before we kill like the hippie girl until like we start rocking and rolling with the girl getting killed on the raft. It felt like 30, 45 minutes maybe, because then these kills feel like they're really sped up.
It was 23 minutes, but yes, we had time for them to go ski dipping, then go fight the twins back at their house that night to party, and Ted and Jimmy try to hook up. Jimmy fucking steals the movie with his sick dance moves. Jenny, what was your thoughts going through this?
I mean, what can you say? It's the highlight of the film. The dance. I mean, that's what everybody knows from this movie, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's quite some great sequences, some great kills, but yeah, it's definitely Crispin Glover throwing cautions to the wind, just like. And it works. His fucking funky moves wins over one of the twins. Well, Teddy, with his teddy bear, can't fucking seal the deal. So, yeah, not surprising. The last American version can't fucking hook it up.
His lack of being able to seal the deal makes him a candidate for murder.
I mean, not necessarily.
Man up, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Murder you.
At the very least, he finds that vintage porn, which is another great sequence. 1920s porn. We weren't going to expect to see that in this film. But, yeah, we do get some more killing as Samantha is jealous of the twins are, just dancing with her boyfriend, Paul, and so he gets easily jealous. I don't know. They're not doing anything. They're just dancing. It's a party, so... She decides, she's so mad, she's going to go for a naked swim.
As you do.
I mean, really?
As you do in anger. Anger, skinny.
Jenny, if you had that kind of reaction, if someone had been dancing with
y'all, I'm a jealous extra bitch, but I have never gone swimming naked just to spite somebody. I mean, like, that is ridiculous. This lady is... full on crazy. She might be crazier than Jason.
Hate skinny dipping.
I guess so.
It's crazy.
Well, thankfully Jason puts her out of her misery quick enough as he stabs her through the raft, through her stomach, as the actress was possibly dying of hypothermia because the water was cold as fuck and that Joe Zito wanted her to film the scenes. And
yeah.
So yeah, she had to deal with that. Meanwhile, her boyfriend Paul has to deal with some odd prosthetics. Hopefully, he didn't actually injure himself as his character gets speared in the penis. That's what happens. He gets spear gun to the penis. So, yeah.
Spoiler alert, that's my favorite kill of the movie.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Also, yes.
Yes. Yeah, and the kills are coming. As we get more character development, obviously Rob, we find out he's the Jason hunter. He's hunting Jason to avenge the death of his sister Sandra from part 2. They don't explain that his sister Sandra, but it's also come out in supplement materials and message boards over the years. But that's his thing. So, yeah. So and as he's not that good at because Jason gets. Not so much the drop on, but he does fuck up his gun and his equipment. So he's a little fucked by this point. But yeah, Tina is mad. Like she doesn't want to have sex with Ted, but she wants to get the fuck out of there, and her sister wants to stay and get fucked. So she leaves and then is impaled with a spear and thrown into the house.
That's what
So-
she gets.
Yeah, that was
for
actually
wanting the
pretty
D.
Yeah.
No, that was one of the ones that wanted to go home. She was trying to cockblock Crispin Glover.
Yeah. And
So she deserves to die.
You never block McFly.
That's right.
yep. Amazingly enough, that woman is speared and thrown up against the door, the house, and then immediately gets that girl Sarah and her boyfriend Doug going, because their little plot line is, I don't think Sarah's ever done it, and she wants to finally do it, and that's the impetus of getting her going to have some shower sex. That's just so weird.
Hey, don't kink shame. We don't kink shame.
Don't knock it till you tried it.
Just saying.
What, the shower sex or getting off by being near a murder victim?
Both.
Either or.
Okay. I mean, I'm not complaining about the shower sex. Like, I got the experience already there. So, but yeah. So let's go. Kill with spear.
Humble brag.
Sorry.
Good Lord.
Sorry.
We are.
Yeah. I was going over Mrs. Jarvis. Sorry.
God damn.
We got some more kills to get through here.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we got Mrs. Jarvis who dies off screen.
Yeah, like
we
I
have-
was, and sorry to get ahead. I was expecting a scene where we see her dead body, and unless like I
It's
was
cut.
zoning out. Okay, I was
It's
like,
a
how?
cutscene.
No one knows. It's like the daughter and the son are like, fuck her, she's dead. Let's worry. This
She's
rando
like-
that we met will protect us now.
Yeah, she's later found she's been drowned in her bathtub because there's still water there. Yeah, I don't know why they cut that. It's weird, but she's there and then she's gone. Jimmy gets quite the fucking death as he's going on his victory lap. He's showing off the panties, but then you're fucking appear, Ted. He's looking for the corkscrew to celebrate. We're gonna get some fucking wine. We're gonna get some fucking lit.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets a corkscrew into the hand and a cleaver in the face,
Mm-hmm.
for starters. That's quite something. And later on, he's bolted to in front of the door to prevent anyone from escaping. That's just a little bit of overkill. As Tina is pulled out of the second story window and slammed through the fucking car, that station wagon they came in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say they did get really good at the kills with this one, because like last movie we were talking about, like, damn, like Jason's repeating himself. This one is like, don't worry, fam, we got this.
Yeah, it's a really
Right.
really memorable. It's slowed down, and it's you see every bump the stunt woman takes. It just looks fucking awful, but it's a great kill. I totally buy it. As Ted is then stabbed in the head, but I guess he's stabbed from behind. He's next to the screen because the film's gone out. Jason is taking out the film, and then he gets behind him, behind the screen. He stabs him through the head, where the teleportation powers. And then he makes his way back upstairs. And after the shower sex, that guy Doug gets his head crushed against the wall with one hand by Jason. That was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And then Sarah goes and finds him, and only in a towel, and she's freaked out. She tries to run out to the front of the house, and Jason throws an axe through the front door and hits her in the chest.
Jesus.
Just
Yeah.
crazy.
We're
Fucking
going.
aim on this guy, right? Wearing a hockey mask, nonetheless.
He's definitely got the aim assist on.
Yeah. I know. And he's supposed to be a human being by this point. He's got his super strength right here. And this is where, this is when Jarvis is like, they know this. Rob's telling him what's going on. There's a killer on the loose. So, Tommy, you stay in our house, and we'll go over there to look for anyone. In which case, Rob goes in the basement and just fucking bites it. He's screaming, he's killing me, he's killing me. As he's
Oh
getting
my
hacked
god,
out.
he's killing me.
Did you laugh at that?
That is ridiculous. What a puss. He's killing me. Good. Never realized what a pussy you are.
It's it's really helpful in determining whether I'm sticking around to help this guy or not. It's like, no, just run, bitch.
Well, she
Well-
eventually runs.
But then she runs back like a dumbass.
Well, no,
She wants to help, but
no.
all she can
He's
do is hack
dead.
his arm. Yeah. So and then she has to run around the house, and obviously she's freaked out by some of the bodies, and she doesn't just want to jump over them or go around them. So, she breaks a window to get out of the house. Jason just pulls down Jimmy, so they go in the house. They go to their house. They try to hammer the door. Yeah, it's just madness at this point. Rob's body gets thrown through the window, and they grab it. He grabs it, Tommy, Jason, and then he just busts through the front door, just breaks it into like 20 pieces as he throws the hammer at Trish's head. Like, it's just madness at this point, and chases them upstairs to Tommy's room. At which point, Trish uses a lamp and TV to electrocute him, and it only slightly works. It takes him out for 90 seconds tops. Scott, it's just ridiculousness. Are you just really enjoying this by this point?
I am. I was like, the only way you're gonna have to do it is you're gonna have to cut his head off, and you got to hold his head up, and that's pretty much what happens shortly. But I did I will say that Trish Jarvis did show some fight, which I said earlier, all these girls whoop ass, and we saw Dalton, that was the guy's name, get his ass whooped within 5 seconds as he's screaming, "I'm dying." It's no shit, he's beating you to death with his claw hammer. We can all see it.
Yeah.
I mean, not too well. It was poorly lit, but that's a thing of the times. But it's neither here nor there.
Yes. As Trish then leads him back into the house again next door. And for the second or third slow motion shot of someone going out of a window, because we didn't mention a dog went out of a window earlier, the Jarvis's dog. I don't know if he was thrown out or he jumped as self-interest survival. But yeah, Trish gets thrown out through the second story window. Slow motion, lands on the ground. Her skirt up is enough you can see her panties, but she's knocked out for the time being. As Jason goes to finish off Tommy. Tommy, who's found the clippings of Rob on Jason, these newspaper clippings of Jason Legend, and enacts his own psychological plan to cut his hair and make himself look like Jason. I have no fucking idea how he comes to this conclusion, but Criscuolo, it's nuts, right?
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And again, we're getting to this really cool psychological thing of, let's mind fuck him, like Ginny did 2 movies earlier. Pretty smart, I gotta say.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy when a 10-year-old kid and his sister have more balls than this fucking guy who's getting. I gotta agree with you, Scotty. I think all these guys that walk around with their knives and the tents in the woods and everything, and they just fucking fold up like a cheap suit.
Yeah, and then you see Trish just whooping his ass, the whole going toe to toe with him like Ginny was. It's come on, what?
Yeah, I gotta avenge my sister, yet I scream like my sister when I die. So it's it's brutal, absolutely brutal. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing moment. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe we can mind.
His sister was screaming for different reasons, obviously, about her death, but
right,
being speared.
Yeah. Yes.
So, but so they're back in their house. Trish cuts at his hand. She splits his fucking hand open with his machete, but it's not enough. He has her on the ground, he's about to choke her to death, basically. When Tommy comes down the stairs, wearing his ball cap, because obviously they weren't going to shave Corey's hair for real, but he's making himself look like old Jason, as he doesn't know how to fucking interpret this.
Right.
He turns his attention to Tommy, reaches out for him. Trish cuts at his mask, takes the mask off, and then she's understandably flipped out because of the way he looks. And then she's freaked out, and so Tommy has to finish him off. He cuts him. He cuts him in the face. He falls down, the machete on his standing up. The machete is standing up. His face is going down the machete. It's fucking gross, but it's like that's how you're gonna do it. They both hug. They're emotionally exhausted. Tommy sees the fingers moving a bit, so he has to finish him off. He just starts hacking him and screaming for him to die over and over as slow motion again. And then we go to a flash cut to the hospital. And it's Trish's recovering, and Tommy has been severely damaged by all this horror around him. As we end the movie, and Jenny, what do you think of this reveal, and then Tommy's just fucking ape shit on Jason?
It's real fucking creepy. I mean, it's smart. It's not super believable. I mean, I guess he was sort of like a weird kid anyway, but like, I think it's real weird to like, this is your immediate plan when there's a crazed person murdering everybody. So that being said, it works, and he does look really creepy. And I popped hard when he just started hacking him with the damn machete. I mean, like, thank God, finally, right? Somebody's doing it.
Mm-hmm. Preach, Jenny, 100%.
But and that's what happens. And then, obviously they reunite in the hospital, and the last shot of this movie is Corey Feldman giving this very ominous, creepy look to the camera to show that he has just been fucking destroyed by this. Like, his innocence is gone, and could almost be seen as a tease for, well, Jason's dead, but maybe this thing can keep going with Tommy? I don't know. I'm sure that's what they devised at the time, but who knows? We know what happened regardless. But this movie was, came out. It was a decent sized hit. It made money, and it wasn't the final chapter. But Criscuolo, your closing thoughts on this and your favorite kill?
I love this movie, actually. I would put this in my top 3. I love the story. I actually love the characters, and Crispin Glover is so great. Ted, where's the corkscrew? He literally sounds like Back to the Future. Like, I can hear him. It's McFly voice. You know what I mean? And his death is great. The corkscrew to the hand and then the fucking machete to the face. I mean, that's pretty awesome, actually. Lawrence Monoson, who played Ted, is a future 90210 alum. Which I thought was pretty cool. That was I think he was in season 4. I like the characters. I thought the characters were good. I thought the sister was good. I think having that family thing there was good. And if it ended here, I think it would go down as one of the greatest franchise. I mean, it is anyway, but at least for substance purposes. If I could say Jason was my favorite kill, can I do that? Because I think him fall. I mean Tom Savini had to be so proud of the whole knife going through the fucking eyeball out the fucking back of his head when he fell. I mean, he is
confirmed dead in this movie. So yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty good kill. I'm gonna have to go with that. I think it's a tie between Jason at the end and Crispin Glover getting the fucking machete in the face after he's corkscrewed in the hand. It's a pretty cool death.
Okay. Scott, your final thoughts.
If it would have ended here, I thought it would have been great. It definitely ended on a high note. It was my favorite of the 4 we watched tonight. Definitely interesting maybe to see if Tommy turns out to be like a killer in his teenage years. I will reiterate my favorite kill was the dick kill, like the spear through the dick.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, Jenny, final thoughts.
I like this one a lot. I mean, it like we said, it's sort of kind of the same thing, but it feels newer. It feels fresher. Jason has his mask, which to me is very important. And he's a big guy. He has a lot of intense kills in this. I think probably stepped it up on the amount of kills and the brutality of them, including the dick spear. and the corkscrew thingy. But yeah, this is a good one. Like, this is, if you're gonna watch a Friday the 13th and you're like, I don't want to watch the original, this is the one that you watch because it recaps you on everything up to this point, and then you get the sort of the best kills and a really cool version of Jason. So I like this one quite a bit. My favorite kill, I mean, there's a valid point for Jason's death being the best kill, but spear to the dick.
Yeah, it's quite a memorable kill. I really love this movie. I think it's very inventive. It's very fresh for a fourth movie in. I know they probably went in thinking this was going to be the last, so let's go for broke. But yeah, it's very memorable. There's a lot of fun characters. You're not just waiting around for the kills to come. There's a lot of sexiness, obviously, which obviously the movie, it can be seen as a very cliche, and obviously it was very much parodied in like later Jason films. Certainly Jason X would parody this whole era, but it's a lot of fun. There's way too many creative kills. I guess if I had to think of my favorite kill, would it be today? I don't know. I just go for Axel. His fucking, he gets the literal saw his fucking head turned around. That's what I would say today. It could change tomorrow. But yeah, it's really inventive, and really sets the course for the next phase of Friday 13th. Obviously, they didn't follow up too much on it in the next film, but it's certainly worth talking about. It's infamous in its own right, which we will probably discuss on a future episode. But yeah, that's what we have for tonight, and I thank all of you for joining me on this exercise. Obviously, all three of the hosts here have had their fair share of wanting to talk horror movies at different varieties, whereas the Friday 13th, the Scream movies are certainly the Jaws, and obviously we're going to keep doing that going forward. But next month we're going to go and do something a little different. And since Andy's not here, I guess I'll have to reveal what June's episode is going to be. You know what? I was gonna do a voice. I'm not gonna do the voice. I'm too tired. We're talking about the Pirates of the Caribbean films. We're doing all 5. Yes. So
yeah,
Ooh,
should be a
ambitious.
lot of fun.
It is.
yes.
I just finished watching all. I just finished the 5th one today. I've watched all 5 over the last week or so. I'm looking forward to that one. Looking forward to you guys doing that one.
Yes. I was gonna do a whole pirate voice. I thought I could make it really fun and entertaining, and I was like, you know what? I'm fucking tired. I don't want to do it. So we're doing all 5. Next month's guest will be Jenny, someone you're very familiar with.
Miranda.
Sorry. Miranda.
Yeah, her.
Yes, I'm quite familiar with my best friend. Yes, sir.
Yes. Miranda Berthold. God, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm
You did.
sorry.
Very good.
Yes. So she'll be joining us, which means it'll be a very early recording for us, thankfully. Yes, since she is overseas. But I'm looking forward to it to a point. I'm interested in certainly that first film and maybe that second film. But yeah, I'm gonna have some thoughts. But you know what? Maybe they'll surprise me. Maybe I'll be thoroughly entertained. But I guess it's just the thing of having to watch 5 Johnny Depp films in a small space of time is doing that to me.
Oh, let me give you a word of warning. Not a word of warning, but it you don't really get over depth, in my personal opinion. I don't think you get over depth until the 4th one.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
That's fair.
That's just my opinion.
Okay. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do, and Andy will be back with us hosting, and yes, we look forward to interacting with him again. But until then, Scott, Criscuolo, Jenny, Smith, thank you for being on. Thank you for coming on, offering great takes as usual. Jenny, do you have anything you want to plug?
No, just my podcast feed. It's called The Jenny Position. All of my cool shows are there. You can check it out. You can find me on Twitter. I link everything that I do there. It is at Jenny Position. And you can find me on Facebook as well.
Okay, Scott Criscuolo.
Same thing. Follow all the great stuff over on the PTB Wrestling Network, and I of course do a couple shows over here as well. You can follow me on Twitter at PTB Podfather. You could follow the brand on Twitter at PTBN Wrestling, and of course I know the Pop feed has Twitter as well. And yeah, got great stuff everywhere.
Yeah, that's great. And of course my co-host Scott Shifflett.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Scott_Shifflett. Since the start of this podcast, I've jumped on a bunch of other podcast feeds, so be sure to check them out with PTB and YouTube Roulette with Sean Kidd, Logan Crossland, and Jake on the wrestling feed. Pop Goes to the Couch with Tim, Sean, and Andy, and Battlestar on the 25th Century with Sean as well. I do a lot of podcasts with Sean. It's the only one I don't do with Sean, so there you go.
All right, well that's great. And I'm only doing this podcast currently just due to my hectic work schedule, but I'm very happy I get to do this and talk about a lot of different movies. And we will circle back around to this sometime. Not in August. I don't know what I'll do in August. We'll do something different. But until then, join us next month for Pirates of the Caribbean on lucky number 13 episode of Blockbuster Rewind. Thank you so much. Have a good night.